Hey, team players, and welcome back. We're going to be going to underdogs this time. In light of the Aaron Rodgers news, what does that change to the leagues? What does that change to your underdog best ball philosophy? Been doing a lot of best balls on DraftKings. The half PPR, no bonus points. This one's going to be interesting and seeing how it all shakes out right here on Local Football Flavor.
Big face.
Super excited for this. Yeah, super flex, baby, man. This is different.
Big face. We're entering one right now, guys. So what we're going to do today is we're going to rack up a super flex. The reason we're going to do a super flex today is primarily because of all the news that's going out there about Aaron Rodgers, quarterbacks in general. We've been talking a lot about quarterbacks on DraftKings and how to use them. But in the super flex, some of our audience has been talking a little bit about super flex in the chat. What's up, Jason? And we wanted to just bring you a show. We got a suggestion last week to get on underdog. So we're going to just tackle an underdog puppy, but super flex. This is a new one that just came out because I believe they filled up one of the puppies already. So we're going to jump in to one right here. Hopefully we get a good spot. Ideally, I'd like to get something probably in that 6-7 range for a good comeback on the next pick. Because I'm absolutely quite okay with getting into a Kyler Murray, Justin Fields kind of combination. I like their Week 17 games. I'm also okay with a Bo Nix in there as well. So we're going to really, depending on our position, if we're sitting at 1, of course, we're going to go after the Josh Allen of the world. If we're picked like 10, that's going to be a little bit trickier.
By the way, we don't normally show you the pre-rankings before a show, but this being super flex, we want to emphasize how much harder you got to go quarterback early because you start 2 of them. This is massively different. We all know there's basically 10 good starters. You got to fight for them.
Yeah, so taking a look at this, Joe, I really want to bring everybody's attention down here to Caleb Williams. So his ADP is sitting there at around 20. And in this format on underdog, the Superflex format here, it takes the wide receivers down to just 2. Okay. So when we think about how that affects draft strategy, usually we're hammering wide receivers on underdog fairly early and fairly often. But as we look at it here and we look at just the disparity between what you can get at quarterback versus what you can get at wide receiver, I think it's really important to point out here. Okay. So I'm looking here at Caleb Williams. If you're taking Caleb Williams, that's around pick 20. So ADP 20, right? And then you're coming down here and you're saying, well, I can still get Garrett Wilson at pick 47. I can still get Jackson Smith and Jigba at pick 61. And I'm only sacrificing, I'm sacrificing Justin Jefferson. I could get Puka at pick 20. I can get Drake London at pick 33. So what I'm saying here and kind of what I'm bringing to your attention here is that depending on where we're sitting, and I think oftentimes just essentially where we're at, we're definitely going to just want to hammer quarterback. Okay. We're at pick 4. This is perfect.
All right. So
this is perfect. 4 overall. Perfect. We're grabbing either Hurts, Daniels, Lamar, or Burrow. Coming back, I like Burrow's Week 17 game, so I might hammer that.
Of the top 4 quarterbacks, yeah,
we have all the options there because I doubt we're going to be getting Josh Allen on the comeback. And then we're sitting back there at pick 21. So pick 21, we're sitting in that range where we wanted to be, where Justin Fields would be available to us, Brock Purdy would be available.
Fields would be the one I'd want for sure.
And then this is the best part about this pick number 4 that we got, guys, is at 28.
Who's not the quarterback?
28. We could definitely. I mean, look at this. We can get Nico, right? Or we can hammer another quarterback. BTJ, all there for us. Bucky's there for us. JT's there for us too. So, I'm just really curious to see
how late Stroud was on that list. If you could do Miko and potentially catch up Stroud on the 4th, and that would be crazy.
It's a possibility.
So Lamar obviously goes. So this is probably looking at Hurts.
Yeah, it's either Hurts or Burrow or Daniels.
This is Daniels or Hurts, right? That's where you want to go with this?
It's got to be. It's got to be one of those guys.
See, I would rank that Daniels, Hurts, Burrow. That's how I would rank that for again, super draft league.
All right, so we have a very big competitive advantage, and you know why I like getting.
How many rounds is this overall, Bob?
Say that again.
This is
20 rounds. 20 rounds.
Okay.
So we're gonna load up. Actually, we're gonna pull Devonta Smith somewhere in here. I'm curious to see where his ranking is at.
So he's got to search him at some point.
Pick 81, man. So we've got Hurts. I mean, this.
Hey, can I just point something out here, just as a love for Underdog? Their search feature is the best of all these sites, for being able to get it all up there.
Agreed. And
they're solid.
It's easier. It's much easier too when you're looking at, especially when you're on your phone too. I'm doing this on my computer today, but definitely when you're looking at your phone, this is something that is perfect. See, now this Jamar, CD, Justin Jefferson owner going pick 12, going against the grain at pick 12 here with Gibbs and Jefferson. They're definitely building a team that's going to try to overcome a Lamar and Josh Allen without giving the Lamar and Josh Allen owners Jahmyr Gibbs or Justin Jefferson. I think that's a smart play, but I'm going to be really curious how they build it pick 36 and 37. They're probably going to wait for a JJ McCarthy.
So I look at this here as we're obviously getting quarterback on the comeback, right? And if Fields is there, Fields is the run to the podium guy for me.
Well,
I'd rather have Fields before Kyler. Fields is a run to the podium guy for me. He's going to be running for his life.
Yeah, and I mean, you could make a case, like I said, you could make a case
after
for
doing some research over the weekend, the Niners are becoming a little bit more concerning to me.
So there's Caleb. So
now, to me, this is all Fields. It's super flex, man. Give me Fields.
Yeah, because I mean, like when we look at it,
build a perfect world. Fields, Collins, and Stroud. I would love that.
Yeah,
is Stroud realistic at 45?
Stroud could be realistic at 45. Stroud's at 38. I think Puka might be a good buy as well.
Not really. So you're looking at like Bryce Young. Oh, I think Stafford's realistic at 45. I don't see that big of a difference between Puka and Stafford. He might be able to get Adams too. So I'm cool with Puka.
Oh, there goes Puka. That's okay. Nico would be a definite buy for me. I like Brian Thomas as well, but Trevor wouldn't be a buy for us that price. So let's see what falls to us here. All right, there goes Neighbors. All right, so do you want Nico?
Yeah, I definitely want Nico over Thomas for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest Drake London as well. I kind of like the idea of trying to get Michael Penix. It's just a curiosity more so. Jason,
I'm not opposed to getting Penix, but
yeah, Penix could be a nice thing. So in redraft or general question, do you guys keep buys in mind? For example, let's say you have a Chase and HN both on the same buys. Do you not draft HN because of that, or do you not care? Also, is two main guys on the same buy okay, and it's not three main guys? So there's a lot to say about that, Jason,
yes.
if I'm being honest.
So Jason, answer that. Two main guys on the same team is totally okay and fine.
Yeah.
I don't worry about buys when I'm building my starting roster, but obviously for the backups that you're using to fill in the gaps, you do have to worry about a little bit more. But in best ball format, I pretty much care less because I'm never going to have a complete 20-man roster where it's going to be shot out. It's more of a redraft problem for me than best ball.
Well, I've done this before. So generally in a redraft league, I'm actually okay with keeping my bye weeks. Actually, you know, I've practiced this in a couple of the leagues that I do in a couple of my home leagues. I actually like when I have all of the buys either on the same week or the same 2 weeks, because then I don't have to play around and search for players. If I am taking the L there and my team is loaded up with talent, you know, you have to be pretty overconfident. See, that guy just got JJ. That's good. I like that Brock Bowers, Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson with the JJ McCarthy in there. I think that that's not a bad spot. It's a nice way to zig when everybody else was taking quarterbacks. I think it's really interesting. Lucky he got JJ there. When I look at the options to have like, okay, I want to have all of my buys on the same week or the same 2 weeks, you're going into it and saying, well, I'm taking the best players available. Screw the buys. I'll just take the loss that week. And if you find that you're not like being competitive leading up to that week, I think that then you can change that strategy a little bit. But I think it is going to be imperative to look into something like that. We might get Garrett Wilson here.
So, Bob, you absolutely have to take a quarterback here. You have to take a quarterback. They're flying off the board. Show me the quarterbacks, just the quarterbacks.
It's
and you're on the clock.
Yeah, it's Stafford, Tua.
You got to take Stafford or Tua. You got to take Stafford or Tua. Pick one.
I want Garrett Wilson.
You got 6 seconds, Stafford or Tua. You're going to regret that.
I don't think I am.
You're not going to have a quarterback. You're not going to have a third quarterback.
I'm okay with a guy like Cam Ward.
Cam Ward's not going to come back to you.
But I want that stacking partner with Justin Fields. I think we're going to be okay. So Jason, I hope that answers your question. I think that it's really important to really see what your level of risk can be in that moment in time. So like if I have Jamar and I have Devin Achane and I think that those guys can win me a league right now, by all intents and purposes, like I'm in for that. This is Cam Ward here, Joe.
Quarterback on the board, Bob.
This is Cam Ward.
All right.
And we're done at quarterback. We could have taken Rodgers.
There's only 3 starting quarterbacks left, and there's people who don't have any yet. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I overstep.
But now we do got to start looking at some running backs. This is underdog after all.
Yeah,
and scroll down a round or two. So we put.
Here's the thing, though, Joe. Here's the thing. Like I'm looking at our team so far, and we have 3 young, talented quarterbacks that are very versatile. And we have 2 really talented wide receivers here that are also extremely volume-based and versatile. You're welcome, Jason.
Underdog more so than anything is volume-based. More so than anything.
We have Cam Ward. So when Calvin Ridley comes around, we can also take Calvin Ridley. That was my thinking behind
Ridley's
Cam
2
Ward.
turns, though. You can get a running back then Ridley, right?
Oh, yeah. Because you're just seeing Tyreek come off the board, dude. So, like, what we're going to hammer here is probably Ken Walker.
Yeah. All right. So I would like to take Chuba and Walker if we can on this.
I'm going to load up Chuba. I'm going to load up Cam. I'm going to load up Travion. Those are the 3 that I'm kind of targeting here, Joe. Because Ridley should be available pick 88, which would be right around where our low point is here.
That'll be a little bit of all right.
So you're looking here at this guy, pick 9, pick 12. They're both very diversified kind of rosters, and they're saying, okay, well, I'm punting quarterback, probably taking Aaron Rodgers, probably taking Tyler Shook, something like that. You could these guys ahead of him can really screw him over. I like Team 7 with Bijan, McCaffrey, Herbert, and Penix. I think that's an interesting way to go.
Yeah. Very
intriguing. And maybe we should have went running back where Nico was. Maybe we should have went HN there, but I like Nico.
No. First of all, HN wasn't on the board there. Collins was the right pick. Because remember, underdog is so touchdown dependent.
So there goes Chuba and Walker, Joe.
That hurts.
We could go Aaron Rodgers, vestige of Aaron Rodgers here. Take a 4th quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. Or Mixon. Oh, we don't have Stroud, but you're on the clock, so Rodgers is fine.
So we're kind of being a bully in the room there. Is 4 quarterbacks necessary? No, but it is 20 rounds, and I'm okay with that because I think we can get Henderson on the next pick here, or Devonta, whatever one you want.
I'm not in love with I am in love with Henderson, but I think I'd rather take Metcalf.
Okay. I'm game for that. All right. So we're looking at it here. The reason I went Rodgers, Joe, was because Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts both have a week 9 bye. So that really limits our super flex kind of options there. DK Metcalf opens the door. We still don't have a running back yet. I'm okay with that. I like Tony Pollard. We can go Jones.
I like Aaron
Jordan
Jones.
Mason's there. I'm okay with Najee, especially in this format. Ramondre will be on our wings. Ray Davis, I like a lot. I mean, look, I think we're going to be okay at the running back. I know it's a little bit of a.
Right.
But look, like Anthony Richardson down here. I mean, come on, like Daniel Jones would have been an interesting selection as well. I like the idea.
Scrolling too much, Bob. You got to keep it still so I can read it.
I like Daniel Jones a little bit. He's
Is
interesting
Ridley still on the board?
Say it again.
Is Ridley still on the board?
He's still on the board, but he won't be on the comeback. If he is, we'll take him. Now,
if he is, and then we'll just play running back roulette thereafter.
Now, here's the thing. We took 4 quarterbacks.
If you get 4 stud receivers, you can very much focus on just rolling the dice on the running backs. I don't love that strategy, but this being the first super flex, I like seeing it.
Yeah, we took 4. We're going to rack them up another one too, guys. So just so you know, this isn't going to be our only one today. But we got 4 quarterbacks, and now like that's one strategy you can use. You can totally over dominate the 4 quarterbacks. Did we get the best quarterbacks? I think we got the best combination of quarterbacks, to be honest with you.
I think we did too.
I think the other competitive piece would be the Patrick Mahomes team. I like that they went those 4 wide receivers there. I think that's really awesome. I like that combination of quarterbacks as well. I don't really like the Bo Nix, Dak, Jordan Love, Geno, Sam Darnold idea, but the 3 quarterbacks or the 3 wide receivers they got on the comeback, I am more than okay with.
Yeah, dude. If Ridley's there, I would ideal world. If we could do Ridley and Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson just went, so Ridley would be my
just went. So this is Ridley. I mean, I am more than okay and set with what we have there.
See, I prefer Brian Robertson Jr. over Pollard. Although we have Cam Ward, though. Yeah, we have Cam Ward. So you can talk me into Pollard. Well, Pollard went anyway.
He just went, so that's okay. If our first
here's the reason I don't mind Robinson. It's going to be a high-scoring offense with lots of garbage time. He must have just went.
There goes B-Rob. So this should be Mason.
Just running backs on the board. Just click the running back tab or receiver. Running backs, tight ends. That's all I want to see.
Laporta and Hawk, or Laporta just went. Mason would be our guy here, or Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Mason. That sucks as receiver, as running back 1, but you got to take Mason here.
I'm okay with it. Like I said, I'm perfectly okay with punting, and like again,
you're making me pinch my running back grundle pinch, man.
There are so many different strategies to approach the superflex with, as you can see from the board that's already coming across. Is it bad that we sacrificed our first running back slot for Calvin Ridley? Will Calvin Ridley make the team half the time? Maybe he'll be able to score more points than Cam Ward. Maybe he'll be able to score more points than Aaron Rodgers. But I like that we have 3 1-1 stacks in games that should be relatively easy to jump on in week 17. We're sitting here in the 10th round. Jordan Mason had to be the pick because he wasn't going to come back to us. Should we have taken a different guy? Maybe. But if Jaylen Warren's there on the comeback, I would take him. I'm also interested.
Oh, absolutely. Bob, at the end of the day, if we end up with Warren and Stevenson, there's worse things.
I also like the idea of Evan Ingram, even though we have no stacking partner for Ingram. I like that. Drake May, also Joe. Drake May would have been an interesting pick for us off of Justin
for tight ends. Just put on Freiermuth and Chig, and we'll just put those 2 on late.
All right, we'll do Freiermuth, Chig,
and both cheap.
Hunter Henry, or not Hunter Henry, but Hunter Henry and Taylor. We'll do Taylor as well.
Do Mason then. If you're doing a 3rd one, do Mason.
Yeah, there we go. All right, rack them up.
Just call those your late tight ends and call it a day.
Yeah, rack them up. All right, this is going to be Jaylen Warren, I think, Joe.
Oh, yeah, I think Warren's going to have himself a good year. He was injured, started last year, suppressed his numbers. And Tomlin doesn't fall in love with the rookies off the jump. So I think there's a good chance Warren gives you some early juice. I also think Ramondre Stevenson is going to last longer than people want to give him credit for.
And so everybody who's just tuning in, Joe and I were doing. We had a suggestion from an audience member to do an underdog draft. And today, while I was searching underdog, I found and came across that they've posted their Superflex. So that's what we jumped into today. We're doing a Superflex league. Ideally, if in the next 3 picks we can get Ramondre and Ray Davis, I would love that because I'm fairly confident in our wide receiver room. This is going to be Ramondre.
Well, yeah, our receivers are stacked. We got things that you don't normally get in a league here. With our receivers being Metcalf and Ridley,
and Wilson
was the first one that was Miko. Yeah, I mean that's a stacked receiving room.
Love the combination.
Obviously not the top flight stars, but we have 4 of the second tier.
Yeah,
you only get that because it's a super flex.
I mean, I really like the combination. I like that Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud stack. I think that's interesting. But without any stacking partners, I'm really curious about that. The guy who went 4 straight running backs, I'm not quite sure where the advantage is there.
I'm not sure the advantage is of 5 straight quarterbacks. I get 4, not 5.
Well, 4 running backs, 5 straight quarterbacks as well. He does have a nice wide receiver core with the first running back being Charbonnet. Charbonnet does have a decent amount of value. It's fun. It's fun to see this though, Joe, because you're looking at running backs right now, and some of these guys in DraftKings weren't being drafted until like the 12th, 13th round, and now their numbers are being bumped. Like super bumped.
Yeah, you got because it's super flex. Everyone's pushed down 2 rounds at least because of the quarterback effect, and you're still seeing these running backs flying. I'm a running back whore, and I don't even like this.
Joe, I might do Ray Davis and Shaheed here if available. Maybe Benson. I probably would take Mims on this team too, if I'm being honest with you.
We don't have the stat.
Who, Shaheed? You don't need to stack for Shaheed. Shaheed's a beast. He's my boy.
I'm at Mims, but
Andre, who's a high upside wide receiver you guys are buying low on?
Well,
right
Bob
now?
Just said him. Shaheed's one of them, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of the guys. So there goes Ray Davis. A couple of the guys that I think.
Hold still on the big draft board, Bob. Let me see the big draft board.
Yeah. A couple of the guys, I'll answer that question in a minute, Andre, after we make the picks here. This might have to be Trey Benson.
I kind of think it might have to be. Yeah, best you go to running backs. Who we got left in backfield?
No, well, this guy pounded some running backs here, so it might not have to be Trey Benson.
It does, because they're not going to come back to us.
Benson and Blue. I'm okay with Roshan as well.
See, I think Blue gives you better upside than Benson.
Okay.
Just keep running backs up.
Do you want to sit on Blue and take Shaheed here, or do you want to take Blue? We'll take
I think
Blue.
we need to take Benson and Blue because we don't have the running back depth. Our 4 receivers are studs.
We'll see.
The likelihood of the receiver hitting the field versus the running back hitting the field, it's much more skewed towards the running back.
No, I'm there with
you.
We
get Benson here, and then we can start making sure we don't go too late on the tight ends.
5 straight running backs. Not sure if that's going to be profitable there, but it's not a bad call. So Andre, a couple of guys that I'm kind of looking at.
So the next one's going to be tight end because you're looking at 65. All right.
Yeah, the next one will push tight end, and then we'll take some late round wide receivers here.
I'm just trying to line up our tight end so we get the stacks and we don't miss them.
Who's a high upside wide receiver that I'm buying right now? So if you take a look at some of these guys that are, the rooms are thinning out, the wide receivers are going through. So if we're talking about like down here in the dregs, I think Jalen Noel, especially in Dynasty, is a guy that I'm buying. Jaden Higgins has gotten a lot of priority kind of thoughts in most people's communities, but I think that Jalen Noel is a great guy to buy into. I like Yoshi Vus as well. The reason Yoshi
Romeo
is a good guy.
Is the guy for me, Andre. Before Bob gives
Yoshi's a
his
good
whole
guy to find,
list,
too.
let's do 1-on-1 here. Romeo Dobbs is a guy that I like a lot.
Not
I know that
interested.
Golden gets there.
Not interested.
Again, this kind of shows my point. I'm in the Dobbs. He was their number one receiver on a per play basis. He had the most routes per play, the most catches per play, and the most yardage per play. He was their number one last year. And that was when Reed was there. I know they didn't always overlap.
Oh, okay. I got
Dobbs
you, Andre.
showed himself up. Wait, so what was that? So I'm talking potential elite guys you'd offer first round picks to trade for.
As well. Okay, I got you.
Well, there's no sleeper I'm offering a first round pick for. But guys that I'm into, especially in Dynasty for a first rounder,
Nice.
Collins, that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, Collins is. Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of guys. I don't normally like trading my first round pick, to be blunt. Collins situation I love. I think that giving a first round for Marv is overpaying.
That's fair.
Trevor Coleman is a guy that I love late, who's nowhere near worth a first round value right now. This has to be primary. You're gonna miss him if you don't get him. Dude, why did you take Goddard? Oh, we have Hurts. Okay. Yeah, we have Hurts. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Take Mason off the list. Take Mason off the list so we don't accidentally draft him.
Well, one of these three is getting taken off the list. It got taken off for us.
Yeah, so Mason's the one I want off the list. I want Freiermuth off. Well, Mason
got taken off for us.
So it doesn't even matter.
It's no worries. He got taken off for us.
Perfect. Take Muth and we're set. But yeah, a guy I believe is going to have a big jump forward. Coleman. People are sitting on him. I think Rishi Rice is going to have a huge step forward, but that's not really a surprise.
So that's the guy primarily, Andre. So if we're looking at people to kind of buy low on, if we're thinking of like mid-round guys that are getting like, I'm going to scroll up a little bit here, guys, just so you know.
Ladd is the guy I would give a first-round pick for in Dynasty. There's no doubt I would do that.
Again,
I would do it for Ladd.
Here's some players to kind of think about as you go into next year of guys that you don't have. These are guys that I'm going to say right now that you don't have to give first-round picks for, but I do think have a really high degree of elite upside going into this year. First one, Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers.
The problem with this question is you never spend a first-round pick if you don't have to. So by your nature of your question, sleepers, you don't spend a first-round pick, but they will be worth the first-round pick 2 years from now.
Joe, we're just looking at high upside to buy low on. Okay, so
Jacoby's a guy. I'll give you that.
I'm going to mention a couple of guys that I think have high upside going into this year that I don't think a lot of people are prioritizing this year. Player number one, Jacoby Myers. Okay, Jacoby Myers is now paired with Geno Smith. We know Geno Smith likes to throw the ball. We also know that Ashton Genty came in, and the volume is going to be decent for Ashton Genty. But I don't think we can sleep or on Jacoby Myers, and I think when you want to go out and get him, I think that he's going to provide a good deal of boom for your team more than bust weeks. A second guy that I'm looking into, you might not be able to buy as low on him right now as you could have before the Aaron Rodgers signing is DK Metcalf. Well, DK Metcalf isn't the prototypical guy that Aaron Rodgers loves to throw the ball to. I think that he's a player that needs to be prioritized in some way for that team. Let me go through here and pick a couple of guys, Joe. I might take Noel here. We only have 4 wide receivers. I like the upside of Noel.
So I'm really good at Tillman and Noel.
I like the upside of McMillan too. So I'm just
the problem with McMillan is his room is full. Cedric Tillman is going to be the number 2 from the jump, and it's a team that's always going to be losing. And I would argue Cedric Tillman might be more talented than Jerry Jeudy. Tillman was who I would want.
Decisions made for us, though. The decisions made for us. So
Tillman was taken, wasn't he?
Yeah. So we're going to go McMillan here. And the reason I like a guy like McMillan is McMillan's tape might not be the best of any wide receiver out there, but what we need to understand is that quarterbacks definitely have favorite targets. And when we look at a guy like Baker Mayfield, Jalen McMillan proved himself to be a reliable player for him last year. And I think that can't be slept on in this kind of contest. I might go Yoshi here, Joe. Or I like Noel. Let's go Noel, and then we'll try to get Yoshi on the comeback.
Take Noel.
So
Noel
we
in
have
some
two.
ways is Collins insurance.
Yeah, we have two Houston guys. You know, we don't have CJ Stroud. That's fine. Looking at the team, I'll get back to your question in a minute, Andre. Have not forgotten about it. The team so far is looking like this: Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers. The running back room's ugly, but it's there. Jordan Mason, Jalen Warren, Ramondre Stevenson, Jadon Blue, Trey Benson. We have Nico, Garrett Wilson, DK, Calvin Ridley, Jalen Millen, Jalen Noel. So I'm going to kind of stop on wide receiver there. I'm going to stop at 6. I'm not going to push any more wide receivers on this team in the next 3 rounds. The next 3 rounds are going to be running backs and tight ends, just so everybody knows. So I'm going to take Yoshi off.
Yeah.
And we're going to search for some running backs with upside. While we'll still answer your question as well.
There are some home run hitters that I would like to look into keeping on the roster on our radar. If Chubb is still around, he's a guy I'd want to look for. I don't know if he's been drafted yet. You can do a search for Chubb.
I don't think he's been drafted. I don't see why he would have
just
been.
type him in your search bar.
Oh yeah, he was 199.
All right,
199. All right.
I like the rookie in Kansas City.
Okay, Rashard Smith has
Hill in Baltimore.
Hill got taken. I'm queuing up Taj. Is Dobbins still available here? Where did he go? JK went. Okay. A guy like Marshawn Lloyd wouldn't be a terrible buy for us. Neither would like Emmanuel Wilson.
A terrible buy. I would rather have Smith, but I don't think Corum's a horrible buy.
Corum wouldn't be a bad get here. Ty Johnson could be an interest. I know you think he's just a dude.
Ollie Gordon's a guy we love.
Ollie's there.
Ollie's a touchdown guy. Ollie is being undervalued in underdog because touchdowns should have a precedent priority.
Mm-hmm. Well, Madison's there too. Don't forget about Madison. Madison is there. He could take some touches early in the season.
He also could get cut.
He could be. I've loaded up a couple of backs here. I think
I wouldn't mind Marshawn Lloyd either.
That's what I was saying.
Bay's
either Marshawn Lloyd or Emmanuel Wilson. I'm okay with either of those guys, to be honest with you. I don't have to push Lloyd here. I'd rather push Corum, I think.
That's fine.
I'd rather get Corum because I think
I do like Rashard Smith though.
That's fine.
We might be able to get both.
We might be able to get both.
Might be.
Looking at it here, Rashard Smith is like 5 in, so maybe not.
I'd rather the iOS or I'd rather have Calvin Austin or the iOS over each of them because we probably have enough backs now where we can just start going best available.
I think when we talk about buckets though, in terms of the wide receivers and knowing that we can only really start 2 every week and that one could be in the super flex. No. This is you're only starting 2 wide receivers. That's it.
Oh, and there's no normal flex.
No, I believe it's a super flex. Let me check it out.
Confirm that because I thought it was 1, 2, 3, 1 super flex normal.
There is one flex. Yeah, you're right. There's one flex.
But still, you're only starting 3 receivers though. Okay, if the receiver's the flex.
So we have 6.
Either way, I think we could do a spot where it's best available. Did we get Chig, by the way?
No, we did not. We're going to push Gunnar Helm. Don't worry about it.
All right.
I'm okay pushing a guy like that. Hey, Bones, what's up, man? How's it going, Andre? I haven't forgotten about you, man. We'll get to that question a little bit after we end this one and we wrap up.
I thought we answered Andre's question here. You guys are in Pittsburgh. Yes, we are, Bones.
We've answered it.
How do I feel about Rodgers?
He's on the team.
Yeah,
guys.
Here's the fundamental part. Rodgers is the best that was available entering all of free agency, regardless of how you cut it. talking strictly about the Steelers and cutting through their PR BS, they keep saying that they were planning on all these comp picks, etc. The bottom line is the comp pick strategy works like this. If you net have more expensive sign away from you than sign in, you get better picks. Paraphrasing the entire system. Well, they got lucky that there were no tackles whatsoever on the free agent market, and a completely below mediocre tackle that the Steelers just had started for 4 years was the third highest paid free agent. That was Dan Moore. They also got lucky that both of their quarterbacks were sought after by stupid New York teams, and those are going to give them 2 more high draft picks. So they went after Rodgers because someone who gets cut doesn't hurt against your comp formula. That's why they went with Rodgers and let the other 2 away. Because at the end of the day, the Steelers felt having Rodgers and a third-round pick was better than having Fields. Hard to fight that. As a result of all these extra picks they're going to have, they are going to trade up with the draft being in Pittsburgh. They will draft somewhere between 7 and 12 next year, and they will take their real quarterback in the future. Now, what Rodgers does this year, hard to say. Rodgers easily could be bust. We could be the Indianapolis Colts going through old mashed up quarterback after old mashed up quarterback. Or Rodgers could treat this situation like Peyton did in Denver. Just let the ball be run. The defense is out there and be a game manager. But considering that Rodgers threw the third most passes of his career last year, I think Rodgers is going to be arrogant, blow this thing up, and at the end of the day, it's going to be just like when Wilson left. We couldn't wait fast enough. So what do I predict for the Steelers? A 6th-round AFC ranking and a one-and-done losing at Kansas City.
Well, yeah, you guys know, if you've been watching the show for quite some time, you guys know that I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan by any stretch of the imagination. Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback? Yes. Is he previously, is he a very elite quarterback at one point in time in his career? Absolutely. Yes. Is he on the Superflex team? Absolutely. Yes. The value is there. It makes a lot of sense.
Is the draft already over?
Yeah. So I am.
They go fast in 20 seconds.
Yeah. So we're going to rack up another one, but I do want to finish answering Andre's question. Andre, you asked earlier about how high upside wide receiver. And I think when we look at high upside wide receivers, these are guys that I think you can get for a low value because there's been news in the media and people are scared or people don't know what to make of them. So the 2 guys that I mentioned so far, Jacoby and DK, the 3rd guy and the 4th guy, I think run kind of parallel to the news that we've been receiving about injuries or lack thereof are Xavier Worthy and Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams and Xavier Worthy are both young guys. Jameson Williams for the fact that people are really nervous to see and consider how the loss of Ben Johnson will affect the Lions, how the loss of Frank Ragnow, of Ziegler will affect the running game, and if in fact it will affect how much time Joe Burrow has in the pocket. I think that Jameson Williams is a nice buy low, and he's a guy that I think you kind of have to start every week depending on your lineup because you're in it for the bust and you're in it for the booms. And if you start sitting JMO, it's going to be problematic for you in the future because you're always going to be going into it. But I think as
throwing a guy for Dynasty who's incredibly high value but undervalued right now is Ayuk. Ayuk is by far, when healthy, the best receiver in San Francisco. But you're going to get him for pennies on a dollar because he ain't playing until Halloween.
He's going to be cheap.
If you go out and get Ayuk right now, you're probably getting the best spread in terms of long-term dynasty value to cost. This is the cheapest Ayuk will ever be. And I do think that he has potential. He'll never be a top flight guy, but he'll end up being drafted in the 3rd round next redraft season.
Yeah, and a guy that's currently dead to me in redraft for the most part, but a guy that I think should be on people's radars is Jaden Reed. He's only dead to me because of I've been offended by him multiple times this past year after singing his praises. But again, when I look at a guy like Jaden Reed and I look at his situation, is it the best situation in Green Bay? No. Should they utilize him more? Is he being underutilized? Absolutely. But if he were to leave Green Bay, his level of talent, I think, would be utilized elsewhere. So I think that Jane Reed, people are done with him. Like I just said, like I am myself in redraft. I think I am done with him in redraft for the time being. Unless something shakes the opposite way, but people are really high on Matthew Golden. And the fact that in most drafts, and you saw it in this one, Matthew Golden and Jane Reed are going hand in hand. People do not know what to do with him. People know that Jane Reed is undeniably talented in some capacities. And I think that he's so cheap right now that you could get him for pennies on the dollar in what you would normally have to be taking him in any given year. And I think another guy that's being slept on, less so now than he was being slept on a couple of weeks back, is George Pickens. George Pickens had, and Joe's put this stat out there a lot, is that he's had the most yards in like penalties of
he had more fantasy points taken away from him than any other player last year, and he nearly broke the NFL record.
And you got to think that in a different situation like he's in right now, a different quarterback situation, George Pickens is going to have elite opportunities to be successful. He's going to be playing in a dome half the year. Will that help him? Probably.
He's going to be the number 2. That will help.
Another guy, Andre, that's being slept on, severely slept on, and he's being severely slept on for the sheer fact that his teammate is people don't know what to do with his teammate, and that guy is Jalen Waddle. You see these three players right here for me. These three players right here for me are easy clicks, like 9 times out of 10. I will click these 3 wide receivers a majority of the time. And I'll even include Chris Olave. I will draft those 4 guys.
Heavily slept upon.
I will draft those 4 guys most of the time. And I think in Dynasty in particular, Chris Olave will not cost you anything right now.
Yeah, all you can say is he's 1 concussion from being dead. You give him for a 5th round pick.
People want him off their team. Jalen Waddle might be a little bit harder to buy. You might even be able to snake your way into Devonta Smith and say, well, hey, he's not Jalen Hurts' favorite target. That's AJ Brown. What do you want to do? Like, are you going to send him?
I'm not sure I want to buy into Devonta though.
But at the right price, I'm willing to. And like, let's take a look at
my point is, of those 5 guys you just said, Devonta Smith will be last of that group.
Yeah.
But let's rack another one, Bob. See where we're at.
Rack it up. Let's see if we get a good spot this time, or if we're down at the bottom in Nightmare City, and see what we can. Well, over under on the Olave concussions this year, he's already at 3 or 4. If he gets to 5, he's not playing another snap in the NFL. So I am going to say under.
Well, that's not sure. Depends on if he gets the 5th one 2 years from now, he'll be fine. It's how long does it take for that?
I'm saying if it happens this year. The only thing working in Olave's favor is that Derek Carr isn't throwing him the ball. But again, there isn't anything competitive kind of throwing him the ball currently. So I'm a little scared for Olave's health. But I think just in terms of what you can buy him at, let's just take a look at some of these wide receivers, right? And again, guys, this is a
I did a little research on this. If you look at Moore's history as an offensive coordinator, he does not hang his receivers out to get hurt. He has one of the lower rates of people not getting hurt when he's in charge. So Olave might be a guy, man. Might be a dude. And of course, I'm doing all this because we're about to release our rankings. And we do include injury history and injury prognostication in our rankings.
Bones, to answer your question, the movie I think is called The Comebacks. It's got the pretty boy kind of late 90s star in it, I believe, and I'm pretty sure that's the movie. But when we look at
there was no concussion corner.
The Waterboy is an amazing movie. I love the fact that Big Show from WWE was Captain Insano. So Joe, taking what we just did into account, I think that I don't want to push a guy like Jaylen Warren in this one, because I was just looking at what the value could have been if we weren't so worried about Warren. And there were still a decent amount of wide receivers there. So
I want to take a running back early. I want to take a running back in the 3rd or 4th round was what I
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that I think that buying into either JT, Bucky, or Jacobs in the 3rd round, 3rd or 4th round would be ideal.
Chase Brown. If you give me Chase Brown and we tell me that we also put a back-end Bengal running back at the back end, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit fading James Cook because of the news that has come out. So again, guys, we're racking up a underdog.
I want you to recap that James Cook news for everyone.
Superflex puppy right now. One of the audience members suggested we go on underdog this week. We normally draft on DraftKings, but we're doing a underdog Superflex league right now. In our last league, we just drafted 4 quarterbacks in the first 6 rounds. It felt pretty good. We weren't searching for anything really other than running back. Now, is our running back room the best in that one? No, it's not. But it's definitely going to be something that's going to keep us competitive, because I think a lot of running back rooms are like not that great in there. Yeah. Not another team movie. Classic. I really, when it comes to concussions, though, I think that it's like with a guy like Olave and a guy like Tua, for fantasy purposes, it's really, I also think, like we were talking about with Tyreek Hill, I think that Waddle's.
Hey, Bob, we're 6. I want to take Bijan and then do a running back stack or do quarterback stack out of that. If we're somewhere between anywhere after Burrow and Bijan still on the board, I want Bijan.
I can get behind that. It's just another way to play. It's another way to play. Where we at? Come on, baby. Where we at? 7.
We're a Bijan, baby. We're a Bijan.
Bracket it up at 7. So the last one we had 4. This time we have 7. But when it comes to concussions, though, I think that when we look at a guy like Tua, how it affects the whole team versus a guy like Olave, where it's not really affecting, does it make the Saints worse? Yes. But for Olave, he's probably going to be thinking about maybe playing the game a little bit differently, maybe trying not to get hurt as much, because you see that out of Tua as well. And I would be, he's cheap enough that I'm not really worried about that. But if I wanted him to be like a long-term hold, like, again, people were drafting him in the 2nd round last year, and then he got riddled with more concussions last year. His price has normalized so much where I think he's worth it right now. He might even be on this team. Maybe. Man, if we have a chance at Burrow, though, I don't know.
See, I'd rather have Bijan than Burrow. I think there's a very real chance that Burrow gets hurt. That team has no defense. He's going to be throwing for his life the entire season. Now, granted, if he doesn't get hurt, he's a home run.
We'll see here. I know people might think,
but I don't want Saquon at all. Like, Saquon's going to get hurt. You can guarantee that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a slight cliff from Burrow to Mahomes, I think, in terms of who I would want on my team. But if Burrow is there, I think I can't not click him.
Oh, dude, you have to take Bijan over Burrow. You have to.
We'll see what the fates give us. We got a shield here, so we can't. The shield's probably going to take Joe Burrow here. Took Gibbs. Okay, so we've got everything available to us here.
You got to take Bijan. You have to take Bijan.
All right, we'll zig. We took 4 quarterbacks in the last one we did to show you something different and interesting. We'll take you down a different rabbit hole this time. I think so. The idea with Bijan there, guys, is that in this draft specifically, it looks like quarterbacks are going to be pushed down a little bit more. So we might be able to get us Kyler Murray here at 18. Where last draft we would probably not have been able to do that because quarterbacks were going a little bit.
What are the quarterbacks on the board right now? Let's rank them out.
So then these are the next quarterbacks here. We might
obviously Baker. I would rather have Bo than Kyler.
Okay,
and I'd rather have Fields than Bo. I'd rather go. My ranking would be Baker, Fields, Nicks.
I don't think Baker will be there for us. We'll see. Depends on what these two guys.
That would still be my first.
I think it depends on
right now.
Would
be Baker, Fields, Nicks.
Okay, so 12 zigged. He zigged so he's hoping for a quarterback to come down to him, which isn't a bad bet at the 12 hole. I think at the 12, if you're drafting at the 12, you have to, 12 and 11, I think you have to consider not taking a quarterback. So we'll see what the Saquon owner does. The Saquon owner might take Baker. I think it'd be fair for him to take Baker. There we go. So Patrick Mahomes and Baker, that's a good combination. Have seen that before.
I'm fine with this pick being Fields, Bob. I would push for Fields.
We might get Bo. All right, so this is.
No, you're not getting
you know
Bo.
what?
I'm pushing for Fields.
I know you're pushing for Fields, but I want to try something different here. Okay.
All right.
I know you want, but I'm going to try something different here.
Running back whore. I never will fight a running back whore.
So as you just saw, guys, as you just saw, we did a super flex where we showed you 4 quarterbacks at the start. We want to show you something different right now. Yeah. So we're gonna push a quarterback in the 3rd round here,
and the 4th, and maybe even the 5th,
maybe the 4th, and why I'm doing this is I think with the string of quarterbacks that we just saw. So you just saw a nice string of quarterbacks go, and you saw a string at the beginning. I think that those guys are not going to be prioritizing quarterback in the next couple of rounds. So I think we're going to be fighting team 5 and team 12 for a couple of quarterbacks. We'll see how it shakes down. I think that the Bijan Derrick Henry.
I bet between starting at pick 28, I bet we get 4 straight quarterbacks.
There's a chance. There's a chance. So let's go to the board here. There's a chance. I'm okay with CJ.
I'm okay with May and Love.
I'm okay with Love. I'm okay with May. I'm okay with any of those.
I would probably want May first.
Okay.
And then see if we get Stroud on the comeback.
All right. So there goes JJ. So JJ fell in the last draft to pick 36. So that's not happening this draft. And in this one, I like the upside. Again, so we're drafting Superflex, guys. There goes Brian Thomas. See? All right. So we're going to get a quarterback here. We get our choice of whoever we want.
Yeah, I would go Drake and hope Stroud comes back, man. That would be an ideal. So we got Drake. All right, good.
So Drake.
And Stroud, theoretically.
Do I think he's the best value on the board? No, but I like the running back combination that we have, and then Drake May. I was thinking about
run a little bit.
Yeah, he can also run a little bit. So, I am prioritizing a little bit of that rushing upside. So, Bones, you asked, not sure how I feel about Superflex lately. How many QBs do you guys typically prefer to leave a Superflex draft with? So, in our last draft that we did, we left with 4. In this draft, we're probably going to leave with 3 to 4, depending on what's left for us. Now, looking at this combination, you might say, well, Saquon and Achane plus Kyler, is that better than Bijan, Henry, and May? I think it's pretty comparable. It's just a different setup. So CJ didn't come to us. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But look at all the wide receivers that are still available on the board, guys. Look at all the wide receivers that are still available on the board.
Crazy when it happens.
Taking a look, JJ before Stroud is insane. I agree with that completely 100%. I'm not sure why somebody would have done that. Pick 12, I don't understand not taking a quarterback there. I do like Ladd a lot.
It has to be he doesn't know it's a super flex or understand what super flex is.
No, he does. He's got the shield up, man. He definitely does. I'm not worried about that. JT's sitting there, Joe. There goes London. I wanted to build Drake.
This has to be a quarterback. Take Penix. We got Bijan.
You know what?
Take Penix.
You know what? I want to take Bryce Young.
Why?
I like the upside, man. We can't build anything with Penix.
We can do Mooney. We can do Pitts.
Okay. I like the vibe.
I like Mooney.
All right. But as I see it here, look, I'm looking at wide receivers right now, and I see a bunch of guys that I still like.
Oh, yeah.
So the reason I wasn't pushing so hard for Penix is because I think Bucky and JT would have been a better flex position for us on a weekly basis. But I know what you're saying, though, about wanting to get one on the comeback. So again, guys, we're trying a couple
quarterbacks.
Yeah, we're trying
3 quarterbacks.
Oh, I know. We're trying a different strategy this time. So the last draft that we did, we drafted 4 quarterbacks relatively early. This time we're taking two. We took 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. We're just waiting on some of the wide receivers because
we would have taken Penix there. We would have been screwed.
Well, yeah. Do I like the Lamar, Brock Purdy, Goff, Taylor? Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Like this guy has to take a second one.
What'd you say?
And the guy, number 12 is like forced to. So I think you take Cam Ward and just walk away.
You think so? You'd rather have, if he's available there, you'd rather have him? I think that's fair. I like a lot of these wide.
Because Shook is going to go. Cam Ward at least gives you running potential. Running for his life.
A lot of the wide receivers that are going to be out soon. Oh, we got Bijan and Penix. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I like that stack? Not really, but that's okay. There goes Cam.
All right, so Darnold's the only quarterback left.
Do we want to push Darnold
just started quarterbacks. Just click quarterback.
Do we want to push Darnold? I think so.
You got to push Darnold or Richardson.
I think I'm going to push Darnold there and hope to get JSN.
All right, I'm good with that. I love that, actually.
So, yeah. So when we're looking at this family, this is 20 rounds on Underdog. You can take as many quarterbacks as you want. There is no limit, as far as I know. I think most people will take 5, or most people will take between 3 to 5. I have seen some crazy psychos do 6. But this is a different build. And as you can see, we're not really missing out on that much wide receiver value.
Doesn't have a quarterback yet. He's not.
We're not missing out.
So scroll down a little bit.
We're not missing out on a lot of wide receiver value here, to be honest with you. I see what this guy wants to do, but I don't agree with it.
Number 12, that guy, he quit his roster.
What number 12 is doing is try to stack so many points in favor of him that it doesn't matter what quarterback he puts out there. It won't matter because he'll have
There's not enough starting spots, though, in
other categories. Well, he doesn't have to start a quarterback in the super flex. He doesn't have
not enough starters to mitigate it.
I mean, if you take some really
2 backups,
big, high upside guys, you could. All right, so I'm hoping JSN is still here.
Dude, JSN's the home run here.
If he's still there, I would be very thankful. But I don't know what this guy's going to do. There goes Smith. Damn it.
Give me Chuba or Walker then. Just be done at running back. Give me Chuba or Walker.
I feel that. That's fine. And then we're going to take a couple of these guys down
here. We're done at running back because you only start 2 of them.
Really, Pickens going to queue those guys up. I'm going to queue these 5 guys.
Yeah, you got your boys left.
What'd you say?
You said there's a bunch of your boys left. I mean, that's
a bunch of my boys left.
Making it strength and you're done.
Yeah, so Team 12 is in trouble because there is a strategy out there, guys, that if you're doing these super flexes, like I was saying to Joe, that you can overwhelm them the other side with points. But when you're looking, because you just have to have somebody to fill the roster spot. So like if you're looking at it though, and you're looking at the comparable value of Shook versus, like if you're looking at Darnold versus Adams, both of them I think can put up comparable points on the year. And again, only 2 of them are going to be able to be started at any one point in time. But I think this guy should have given up either Adams or Evans to take a quarterback, or actually given up Ladd. He should have given up Ladd to take a quarterback, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think if you built out, because again, this is 2 wide receiver starts. You can start a flex wide receiver. It's fine, but you don't need to. So I don't think it's necessary. I really don't think it's necessary to do that.
Like Penix will outscore Devontae Adams. It's just a fact.
Yeah. So we have a lot of guys that we like still on the board. I really like that.
Yeah.
I think I might take JMO here, Joe.
Dude, I'm fine with JMO than the volume guys. That's fine.
I think I might take JMO here. Ridley might not make it back
again,
to
we're
us.
on underdog. That's more of a touchdown-based league.
We'll see if JMO gets to us. There goes Tet. There goes. I'm assuming this will be JMO. I don't want to take DK again. I want to spice it up a little bit. Hopefully he's there for us. This guy probably will take JMO. There goes JMO.
Take Pickens or Ridley and take the other one on the comeback.
Yeah, let's take Pickens here. We were just talking about how we like Pickens a bunch, so I'm okay taking
You're going to
Pickens
get Ridley too.
there.
2 of the guys you like.
Hopefully some of that will be down there. Maybe get 10 studs in the first 10, then take 10 backup QBs in the last 10. I mean, reasonably speaking, it's not crazy to think that taking late quarterbacks would be successful. I mean, it's a possibility. But when you have Tyler Shuck going in the 7th round, that's absurd, right? Tyler Shuck
does have a starting quarterback. He's lost before it's over.
Is rough.
I mean, he has to take Rodgers.
Also, Wilson. Joe, did you hear Scott Fishbowl is doing some crazy scoring, and it's like basically positionless, and that we can draft like 12 tight ends if we wanted to draft that many tight ends, because tight ends are getting like 3.5 points per reception, which is wild. Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, of course, being elite options there. If Calvin Ridley makes it to us, we'll have 2 wide receivers on a week 10 bye. So we will have to push wide receiver a little bit in the next couple of rounds.
Well, we have to do that anyway.
We don't need to. Don't need to.
Unless you want to go Caleb Johnson, but I would rather push the receivers. Like, I would go Ridley.
Like I said, I'd be okay with Devonta. I'd be okay with Zay as well.
I'd rather go Ridley.
Ridley had a lot of unrealized points last year, so I'm okay with that. Maybe with the way these teams are drafting over here, though, I think 2 of these teams are probably Downtown Hawk is definitely going running back, I think, in this round. Being solid at Puka and Amon-Ra. So I think that he's going to push it. Look at all those running backs coming off the board, Joe. This is kind of like what I was talking about, where if we rise above that mess in certain drafts, and we don't have to push. We don't have to push.
Crazy. We got crazy receiver value there in Ridley. We're probably going to get another one in the comeback. This is the trues not being caught in the wash. We're not.
Yeah.
There's a run going on and we ain't a part of it.
I mean, it is very possible.
83 to 97. All except for 4 picks were running backs,
like,
and we
here's the thing, family. Like, I think this is the most interesting thing. You mentioned that this guy's going to draft all Cleveland quarterbacks. If you take a look at this team, it's a very solid positional team. But you're giving up so much. Like,
he doesn't have a second running back, dude. He's screwed.
Look at who you can take here versus up here. There's no advantage to doing this without taking a quarterback in round 3, 4, and 5. If you're going to do this, you have to go 3, 4, 5 quarterback. You have to. You can't get stuck down here with Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco. Will they be able to produce points? Potentially. But are the points that you want? I don't know. Maybe not. I think I don't see any stacking partners for us here. So this might be.
I'd go Jennings.
Jacoby. This might be.
I get that he's easy fruit. I'd go Jennings or Olave, but I think you get Olave on the comeback. Or Godwin. If Godwin actually is healthy, he's a league winner.
All right, we'll take him. I'm okay with that.
And then Olave on the comeback.
If we can grab Olave or Jennings or Myers on the comeback, I'll be okay with that. I don't see, like, when we look at who's there, I think that wide receivers are going to start to get hammered soon.
They're going to get hammered after us for sure.
For sure. Just scrolling and taking a look at the board, we see 3 wide receivers. I think tight end's going to have to start a little run soon. If I'm being honest with you, tight end's probably going to start a little run. I like Evan Ingram.
I like Ingram.
We are very much uncorrelated, unstacked in many markets here.
Well, then throw Pitts on the board.
I don't know if that's the
throw Mooney on the board.
Oh, look at that. Jackson Dart. That's terrible.
Mooney should still be left. Do Mooney on this pick.
I think you can go Mooney later.
Well, then do Mooney later. But I would throw Mooney on my board. I'd throw Pitts on the board. I'm not saying they're this pick.
We might have to take Mooney this pick. Myers is still there, though. That's pretty good value if Myers falls. Can you look up, Joe, who Vegas plays week 17? Is it the Giants? I think it's the Giants.
Sounds right.
New England plays the Jets. Atlanta plays LA, and Seattle plays Carolina. So we have quarterbacks stacked with running backs. I don't know if I like that. Debo's there. Do you want Jacoby or you want Mooney?
Jacoby. I think you're in both.
Yeah, I don't think you could pass up Jacoby there. I do like Evan Ingram a lot.
Both of them, so.
Hey, Mr. Magic, what's happening? So just so you know, Magic, we're doing a super flex. We did super flex. We did one before. In the one before, we drafted 4 quarterbacks in the first 6 rounds. We ended up with Nico and Garrett Wilson as our starting wide receivers, but our running back room was a bunch of hit and hopes with upside. Here we're going in a different direction.
This is a stronger team. It might not be stacked, but this is a stronger team.
We took running back a little bit earlier. We did some mid-round 3, 4, 5 quarterback combinations. While it's not the strongest, and you might say, well, Garrett Wilson's a better play than Sam Darnold. Yes, absolutely. Garrett Wilson is a better play than Sam Darnold. But on the comeback, if I'm looking at Anthony Richardson versus Sam Darnold, I don't see that. I don't see that being the same. Tyler Shook versus Sam Darnold, I don't see that being the same. So sometimes you have to give up a little bit to get a lot more in that capacity. I don't think we're fooling around with these wide receivers as well. I think that it's a good combination of wide receivers.
Now you throw Mooney on here, 2 tight ends, and call it a day.
If Mooney gets to us, that would be great. I don't think people want him, but he is the next player on the board. So if auto draft is auto drafting somewhere, Mooney will go. Ingram isn't a bad play either.
Ingram's not a bad play either. No, I agree with that.
There goes Mooney. There goes down. So I'm taking Ingram.
You might get Ingram. Yeah, take Ingram.
I don't hate that at all. I think, like I've been saying on the show, I think that Ingram has a whole lot of upside. So with Penix, would you get Cousins late? Cousins didn't get drafted. In the last one we did, Cousins did not get drafted. Will Cousins get drafted?
Penix is never getting benched.
There's Penix, I think, will only get benched if he's hurt.
Yeah, but that's not benching. That's
like if I'm doing
I would take Jake Browning before Cousins.
Listen. If I am completely punting the quarterback position in a super flex league, these are guys that I am looking at to punt with. It's Jimmy G. Okay, because Stafford may not be long for this, with all those injuries piling up for him. I think that he's an interesting play. I think that Jake Browning is an interesting play on a very solid, very good offense. I think that Mariota is an interesting play. If I'm hitting and hoping on a couple of quarterbacks late, again, Malik Willis is garbage, and I hate him so much. But again, if you are punting at the position, which you have no need to punt at the position.
Nor is it a good idea to. We're not advocating this.
Those are guys that I would go after. So we're at pick 138 here, Joe.
This is the best. I'm going to queue up. Give me running back and receiver combo.
I'm going to queue up these guys. I think that I like Shaheed here in the current makeup
I like
of our
Shaheed
team.
more than both of them, yeah.
So if Shaheed's here, I like Bateman too.
They gave him money. Better? They gave him money. They like him. I'd rather go Shaheed than Bateman. You're on the clock. You go Shaheed.
Shaheed. I like Bateman a decent amount. Just thinking about these games, Tampa plays Miami. Tennessee, I believe, plays the Saints. So that's a good combination there. Like I said, they play the Giants and Dallas. Who does Dallas play week 17? Is it Washington? Dallas plays Washington week 17. Denver is up against Kansas City, so that's a good matchup there. Here we go again. These are not bad here. Maybe loading up. I don't want to load up another wide receiver here. I think I want to take a running back. I think I either want Benson.
That's fine. Now's the time to start getting back into it.
I either want Benson or Blue here, I think. Maybe take a backhand shot on Rashad White. As a play against
Bucky. White.
Just as a play against Bucky. We'll see how the board shakes down. There goes White. The play of Eckler could be interesting because we have a little bit of Dallas action there too. And we just kind of need a big, does he have a chance at a big week? Maybe. We know
I'd rather go Braylon Allen then.
Braylon Allen.
I think Braylon Allen actually isn't up in the.
But he's picked 168 ADP wise.
But that's not this round.
We could get him on the next round, I think.
That would be the comeback.
Yeah. So I think here, and we're gonna push some late tight ends too, guys. So don't get worried about tight end. I don't need Ferguson. I don't need Kraft. There goes Kyle Williams. It would have been nice to get. Oh, we need Pop Douglas on this team. Hunter Henry as well.
Oh yeah, Hunter Henry and Pop Douglas. Yay, Patriots.
Well, I mean, we have their quarterback. So
no, that's right.
There goes Benson. So Garendo.
Yeah.
You like Garendo there?
Or Mims. Garendo or Mims.
Well, we just took Garendo. I don't think we need to push Mims because we'll take Pop. We'll take Pop hopefully in the late rounds. Circling back here, if we want Pitts, we're gonna have to take him at the next pick. But I think I'd rather
I'd rather have the running back.
I'd rather have Braylon Allen. Looking at the board, we might not have to prioritize Pitts because people might go in a different direction than that.
Yeah, a lot of tight ends taken after us, so this would be the one to roll them
on. So Magic, give me one running back, wide receiver running back that you think will completely outperform their ADP.
Coleman.
I could give you like 10. I think the first one is if healthy, Chris Godwin. If healthy, Chris Godwin will outperform his ADP. All health withstanding. If we go in like a typical draft and we're going lower than that, Kelvin Ridley should outperform his ADP. Again, wide receiver that should outperform his ADP, Rashad Bateman, I think should outperform his ADP when it comes to just the wide receiver market.
Tyler Warren will outperform his ADP.
That's definitely just a couple to kind of look at. In terms of running backs, we'll have to get back to that in a minute. Hopefully Braylon Allen does fall here. That would be really nice. Hunter Henry needs to be on our radar as well. Like, I'm okay not going Pitts because Hunter Henry's still there.
Yeah, right, so Allen's the better player.
Welcome to the team.
Pitts went anyway before us.
Pitts did go. So looking at some running backs that could outperform their ADP, Ramondre Stevenson is in the dregs right now, guys. Is he a good player? I don't really think so. But I do think that, like, if you're shooting a dart, and again, this is a super flex league, Ramondre is going around here anyway in a regular league. If you're shooting a dart, why not shoot a dart on a team that's supposed to be up and coming, right? I think that Trevion Henderson is going to steal a lot of work, but there is some room for him to be on that team. So I think when it looks like a running back that I think could also outperform their ADP is Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard has a chance to be in the top, 6, 7 running backs worth of points. You're looking at the top running backs on the board: Gibbs, Bijan, Barkley, Derrick Henry, Genty, McCaffrey, Achane.
And Bob, this is a guy I hated on a lot earlier, but I'm sort of coming around to him. Kamara. There is
Kamara,
no other offensive weapon on that team if a lot of they get hurt.
Value-wise, for sure, Kamara has a chance to be up there as well.
Because he keeps slipping more and more every day. Everyone's hating him.
So, family, do I think that Cousins will get dealt? I do think Cousins will get dealt, but do I think that he's going to play well? I don't. I
don't think he's going to get traded.
He has a chance to perform really well, but I don't think that with the contract that he has, that they're prioritizing moving him in anyone's imagination.
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be Hunter Henry. This guy's not taking the third tight end here. We're going to take a backdoor quarterback, guys, just to let you know. We are going to take a fourth quarterback. It is going to be a backdoor play.
Take Milroe.
It is Milroe is not on my radar right now. But he was on somebody's apparently. I do want Douglas on this team. We have, again, this is 20 rounds on Underdog, so it's different than their typical Best Ball Mania, which is usually 18. So you have a little bit of wiggle room to play with. We have a couple players that we want to see on the team. Demario Douglas is one of the players we want to see on the team. We have 5. We're 3-5-5-2, so we're in a good place right now. This is the team. We got Drake, May, Penix, Darnold, Bijan, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, Garendo, Allen, Pickens, Ridley, Godwin, Jacoby, Rashid, Evan Ingram, and Hunter Henry. I'm willing to take a chance here on a guy like Pierce or Dobbs, Joe, just because I think we're solid in the wide receiver room and in the running back room that I don't need to reach on anybody right now. I'm also willing to take a chance on Will Shipley, like I said. I think that he has a
I'm on board with Shipley, yeah, because Saquon's going to get hurt. Give me Shipley. Yeah, that would be the pick I'd take. And then you got 6 running backs, you'd be done there.
He is like the next player up off the board in terms of running backs, so I'm not sure that we're going to get him. And with Braylon Allen and Will Shipley having the same bye week, it's fine because they're at the back end there. So I'm taking Shipley. And we're done at running back. We're going to push some wide receivers late here. So that was our 16th round pick. So we have we got 4 left. We'll see how to build something cool there. So
there's a couple. Hey, the question before about outdrafting ADP. There's a couple of late shots I like taking. One of which being Akine. I mean, Akine should not be going as late as he
could be interesting here. For this build, Joe, I do want to build either MVS or Torrey Horton for Seattle.
All right.
I know you hate Valdez, but we do have Sam Darnold. And this being pretty more touchdown heavy, I think. While Marquise Valdez-Scantling's not going to blow you out of the water in terms of total receptions or anything, if he stays the burner, I think that he'll get a good look. I am super high on unique builds, and that's kind of why we're trying a couple different strategies here and there. Like we said, the first one we did was 4 quarterbacks pretty early. Here we have some mid-round guys. I'm willing to take a chance at everything. You look at the top 32 scoring quarterbacks last season. I'm sure a few weren't drafted. Hitting them is the hard part. Absolutely. And that's why I'm not really super keen on Cousins, but maybe I take a chance on Kenny Pickett because he does have some rushing upside. And Cousins is kind of shot in that regard with the injury.
Oh, do not put Kenny Pickett on this team.
Do I take a chance on Jameis Winston? Maybe.
No, he's not playing either.
Marcus Mariota would probably be the guy that
I would take Mac Jones and Mariota before either Kenny or Winston.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up a couple different quarterbacks here, Joe. I'm not going wild. Okay. So this is Demario Douglas. That's pop. And then maybe we put Roman Wilson on this team.
I like Roman Wilson.
Ooh, maybe. I mean, I don't like Ray
I'd
McLeod.
rather have
You kind
Coker
of
though.
do. I know you like Coker. We're running out of picks, though. I want a quarterback. I want another tight end. And we have 3 picks left. So you get a pick, and then we have a tight end and a quarterback. So you pick the next wide receiver, and then it's tight end quarterback. Jake's still there, man. Theo Johnson. I like the idea of Arroyo, especially because we have Sam Darnold. I'm willing to take a chance on that.
Guys, it's your number 3 tight end, right?
I'm also willing to take a chance on Taysom Hill, like we talked about with everybody in the chat before. Taysom Hill wouldn't be a bad. I think that he's not.
I'd rather go Arroyo because he's the one who's different in that room. We're talking about tight ends.
So who you?
I'd rather go Arroyo than either the Seattle. If you're going Seattle, that's the one I would go with.
I'm willing to give up Marquise Valdez-Scantling for whatever wide receiver you want here. Do you want Coker? I'm willing to give up Valdez.
No, I'd actually want to go with Thornton from Vegas, but you could probably get him in the last round. So go Arroyo here and then get Thornton in the last round.
All right. So hitting on one of them is going to be really important, I think. But you're going to have to parse it out. Like Team 12 didn't do a very good job with it, as you can see. He's got Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco, Jackson Dart. Will they hit? One of them might hit, but you're investing in the Giants. You're investing in the Giants room, and you didn't even take Malik Neighbors when you had the chance to.
What are you doing?
That doesn't make any sense to me, right? If you're gonna do something like that, at least take the stacking partner. Make it make sense. In terms of tight ends, family, I'm never sleeping on a tight end. Realistically speaking, I just think that I'm taking Tucker Kraft here and there, especially if I built Jordan Love. But I'm not like, I don't need to push any of these tight ends, realistically speaking. All of these guys from Kraft all the way down to Gesicki have a chance to either be in a half PPR league, a chance to be like very close to 0 or being a home run at tight end for the week. And you kind of just have to pick your poison. I think Tucker Kraft is perfectly fine in this regard right here. It's just that in this scenario, when I can build Hunter Henry 2 rounds later and stack up 2 other running backs that I think have potential to do really well this season, I am willing to do that more often than not. And I think that it's interesting strategy. I like Roschon Johnson. Price tag is definitely going up. Mr. Magic, when it comes to the breakout player in fantasy football, family has Kyle Williams here. Here's the QB list left. Kirk Cousins isn't a bad get, but I do think I like Marcus Mariota a little bit more due to the potential injury that could come to Jane Daniels from his physical play style. Will Mariota be essentially great? Maybe not, but threw 4 touchdowns last year and can run the ball in. So, Joe, we're taking
go Mariota.
We're taking Mariota here. All right. Clear these guys off the board. And you think Coker might still get to us? That's
no, I'd rather have Thornton. If we're doing long shot. This point should be a long shot who could go crazy.
So you want 2 Raiders on this team? That's gross. Super gross. Super gross.
Let me just ask you a question. If Brock Bowers gets hurt, where do all of those catches go?
I mean, yeah.
Probably to the most explosive guy in the roster.
Fair. I mean, it's totally a fair assumption to make. Mr. Magic, I do want to come back to that question in a minute. Would you deal Henry for Kamara plus in Dynasty, like a second, or Jaylen Warren maybe at wide receiver? I wouldn't. I would.
No, you don't get rid of Henry.
I would keep Derrick Henry. And I think that Derrick Henry will usually – here's the reason why I keep Derrick Henry, family. It's strictly from a personnel standpoint, is that are they both in the twilight of their careers? Yeah, potentially.
More so.
But who has a better chance of scoring on a week-to-week basis? It's the Ravens. As long as Lamar Jackson is healthy, the Ravens have a better chance to score. So he's going to be put in better situations than Kamara is going to be put in. Now, Kamara will make his case in terms of PPR numbers. He will do that, absolutely. But the will he have the juice to push himself to the end zone? And I think that, while he can make a lot of points through PPR, and that's where Derrick Henry might not be making those points at, I think that depending on your league style for the format, I would rather have Derrick Henry. Will the points be able to be made up by Jaylen Warren? Probably, but I don't really want two guys when one guy can do the same thing, especially if I'm not getting anything kind of like, if I'm dealing Derrick Henry, I want to deal something. I want to get a little bit more than Kamara. Sam Howell, yeah, I mean, Sam Howell is definitely one of those quarterbacks that if you're dipping down deep into the quarterback realm down here, like I said, Sam Howell taking a chance.
Yeah, like don't worry about what they're looking like in camp or mini camp. It's irrelevant. The bottom line is that JJ McCarthy will be their starter, and he's a very good quarterback coach.
No, Joe, this is the reason why I'm bringing this up. Okay, is that when we
I'm telling you, just don't worry about Sam Howell. He ain't playing.
No. But what I'm saying is when we look at super flex leagues and we see pathways, what pathways do teams have to being on a significantly upgraded offense than they were on potentially last year? Sam Howell, Minnesota, Sam Howell can sling it. And there's only, I think it's like -1 point per interception on underdog. So knowing that Sam Howell can sling it, he did it in Washington. He didn't get the opportunity that much in Seattle to do it. If you aren't drafting early quarterbacks, again, I wouldn't not draft an early quarterback, but if I'm looking for a third or fourth quarterback late, this is the case to be like, you didn't need to take Sam Darnold. You could have waited. Well, if you're taking Sam Howell, I think what you have to be thinking is how is his pathway going to be? Will JJ McCarthy get hurt again? And if that happens, Sam Howell is set into a perfect situation where interceptions don't matter. The rules are irrelevant. You're looking at that 2023 number of 278. Okay. That's not bad for a guy that if he starts could hit a home run. Mac Jones isn't the best, but he didn't have a great team last year. You look at him this year, he's set on a team.
He's with the coach who wanted him, though. I like Mac Jones as a late comment.
Would I take a chance on him late? Sure. Jake Browning could show up. Joe Burrow is not the poster child for health.
Here,
so if you are
Stanley, let me hit to your point here. I understand that JJ is a rookie, but I also understand that Minnesota has 0 draft capital. They haven't had a day 2 pick in the last 2 years. They are all in on JJ McCarthy. They have proven they have to be. Yeah. They are going to give him every single chance in the world through Halloween. That's just the reality. They have to make him work, and they're going to, because there's a very good quarterback coach there.
And that's fair. And I think that that's the case. But like I said, like the pathway is there. And again, Jimmy Garoppolo has proved time and time again that he's a game manager. He's not going to throw up a bunch of points. But if Jimmy Garoppolo is pushed in starting, he has 2 of the best wide receivers in the league right now to throw the ball to. And they're not putting anybody else other than Jimmy Garoppolo in. I don't see that he's going to be any sort of fantasy darling this year. But again, it could be really interesting. So when we look at a guy like Kraft, pulling Kincaid and Kraft in the 10th back-to-back was I'd be happy with that, honestly. Like I said, I don't need to push Kittle, McBride, or Bowers in certain scenarios. Having a Kraft and Kincaid, I think, is perfectly fine. Just hoping that you get the edge in other markets. And in terms of this family with the guy kicking tires on Henry, let him kick tires. Let him think all he wants that he's going to be getting Derrick Henry. And I don't think that he's going to be in the market for very long on that. The breakout player in fantasy football this year, in terms of like what we've seen past seasons versus what you're potentially going to get as a high floor. It's a guy that's much maligned in my heart. But I think Marvin Harrison Jr., the market has adjusted well to what Marvin Harrison Jr.'s floor could be. This, for me, this is like Marvin the 3rd, 4th round. I don't think he's should be much cheaper than that in a typical fantasy league. Here he's going round 5 in a super flex. If I can push Marv, he's a guy that I talked about last year. I wasn't a huge fan of how they used him. However, when we think about breakout, did he have the season we were looking for last year? No. Did he have a good season? He had a good enough season, not by game basis, but by a total points scored basis. If I'm looking at a guy that can say that has a breakout where I can draft him at his floor, and I haven't yet hit a ceiling yet, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a good.
Hey, Magic, let me give you a really low-end version of that. I believe Pat Freiermuth can be that guy. Rodgers, very accurate guy. Freiermuth, the second biggest receiver in Pittsburgh. And if you believe Steelers are going to score more touchdowns with Rodgers, Freiermuth could be that guy because he's like tight end 14 right now.
Yeah. And Joe,
he could be tight end 6.
Joe, what's your schedule look like right now?
I got to go.
You got to bounce. I'm going to say.
You guys can stay and hang out and do more, but I got to go. It was fun with y'all. I love you.
So we're going to rack up another one here, guys. Joe's got to go. I'm in control. I got the reins. We're going to rack up another one. We'll push it. We'll push it out and over here. So we got just me and the board, I would hope. How do we want to do this? Joe normally has control of the reins here. There we go. All right, so we're going to hit up another one here. And I'll get to that question in a minute, family. Let's pull up another super flex. Let's try something different. Let's push some later quarterbacks, get some value, depending on where our position is. I like these out right here. Don't want notifications. All right. So if he's offering you 2 running backs for one, when I have depth, Henry, H.N., Bucky, Cook, Najee, Ray Davis, and Blue. Yeah, like if he's offering you Kamara and Jalen Warren, you absolutely don't need it. I mean, Henry, H.N., and Bucky are going to be starters on your team. You should be looking to move Cook, actually. Ray Davis, I think, is going to be a great option for you. I think Cook, you should try to move and maybe upgrade that wide receiver or tight end room. But I think that Cook would be the guy that I would move out of there. Nobody really wants to move into Cook right now, but I get why the contract dispute is a little rough. I know you did. But with the contract dispute, like I said, I think having him as your 4th is perfectly fine. But I think people might be looking to buy into him. Maybe not. We'll see. In terms of non-US, I'm not really sure. We could take a look at that at another time, family. I think that Underdog is US only, but I could be wrong, chat. Could be wrong. If you saw in this, like, this is crazy. I mean, you're looking at Cook over here at pick 58 in the Superflex. There could be some value there. Maybe he sits, maybe he doesn't. He's really unhappy with his contract right now. A guy that's probably moving down a lot of people's boards right now is Mixon with the signing of Chubb. I'm not as nervous as most people about that because Chubb has lost a step. But I do like Chubb. Again, not queuing those guys up. Pick 8 this time. All right. So let's do some crazy stuff. I don't think we need to push that. If we want here, pick 8 opens the door to potentially build into Kyler or Bo Nix. I like that, family. I like adding Davis for Mims. Yeah, keep Cook for as long as you like. I'm just saying, like, he's a movable part is what I'm saying. Out of your whole running back room, like, I wouldn't move Henry, but Cook is definitely a movable part if you needed to. I don't think you need to, but, like, again, this whole room is stacked. Absolutely stacked. This is the room we're talking about. All right, so let's cook up some magic. We're sitting at 8. Got a lot of shields coming up here. I'm okay here buying into Kyler at pick 17 and taking whatever top talent is here at 8. If J. Jeff is there, I'd take J. Jeff. If it's Gibbs, I'd take Gibbs. I'd be willing to build that at pick 8 and then come around with Kyler. again, we're going to try to see if we can do something a little bit different. I mean, quite frankly, in all of these super flexes that you're going to do an underdog right now, guys, the top 4 picks are pretty much going to be the same. It's going to be Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jane Daniels, and Jalen Hurts. It's such a competitive advantage to be at that 1, 2, 3, 4 that you kind of have to figure out what the market is on the other side of the ball here. Again, I'm not going to sour on Barkley like Joe has. I would be willing to take Barkley there if Barkley was available. If Bijan is there at 8, do I take him again? Yeah, probably build something different a little bit this time. There goes Burrow. Where are you at? Will you fall? Oh my God. Okay. All right. Man the battleships, guys. Man the battleships. We just got Jamar. Family, you get wide receivers are Evans, Coleman, Addison, Debo, and Kirk. So I'd rather find a top tier wide receiver for Henry if I did move on. Yeah, totally, dude. Henry should land you a veritable king's ransom in terms of wide receivers. I know you're probably not going to get super young guys, but I mean, just some guys that you should keep your eye on. Henry still has so much value. So if you press it from that direction and you move Henry for one of those wide receivers, Cook is going to be a fine RB3. This is definitely interesting. We did not see this the last time. So, yeah, I mean, you would think that Burrow at 5 would be the play just because he's so elite. But again, I think that especially when you look at this top round here, how the board could shake down, the difference between Burrow and Barkley for this person could be so much further apart than it actually might be realistically. So I think like I would take Burrow at 5. Joe and I were having that debate when we had pick 7 and Bijan was there. Bijan here falling to 10. A nice little combination of Gibbs and McCaffrey there, I think is interesting. We're going to have a couple different options here. These are all options that I like. Kyler in particularly is a guy that I'm aiming for here. It gives, if we get it, it'd be a nice little week 17 build. If we don't, that's okay. All right, perfect. Worked out. Shooting Kyler. This is shaping up to be pretty good. I'm very happy with this. Holding fast. This is what we wanted, guys. We wanted to get Jamar and Kyler there. It's a nice week 17 stack too. If that game ends up going off, I know it's in Cincinnati, so that game could have bad weather. I will be pushing probably Marvin Harrison Jr. somewhere in this 5th round. Let's queue him up right now. I won't be pushing Trey McBride though. Maybe we get a little bit of T. Higgins action as well, just to kind of like parse it out. But I think we're going to take a quarterback on the comeback here as well. I just like we might be able to push quarterback to round 4 if the value's there. We might be able to. We'll see what happens. And if I cut out, guys, severe thunderstorms are in the area. So said it wasn't supposed to do it until like 10. I guess they were wrong. Yeah, I mean, looking at it here, 3 quarterbacks, we're going to get something good coming back here at pick 32, guys. Matt Stafford with Puka. Okay, I get that. Maybe a little bit too. If I could get Kyler and Drake May, might do that. Because I think these guys down here are going to be pushing a quarterback. And then I think value is going to fall to pick 41. Like, I don't know if I could pass on Nico if he's there, though. Put up Drake. I don't think I need T. We'll put T to the side. Oh, okay. All right, here we go. Oh, man. All right, we're going to take Love. Like I said, I think these guys are going to push quarterback here. I'm okay with Jordan Love as second quarterback. I would have rather had May there, but that's okay. Yeah, there should have been 5 quarterbacks taken there. I think I got a little bit of a deal there on Jordan Love. Yeah. I would have liked Drake May there, or Drake May. I would have liked Drake London as well, the double Drakes. But I think Jordan Love opens it up for us to take Golden a little bit later. He has a week 17 game against Baltimore, so we could build up Bateman a little bit later as well. Getting Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, Bo Nix, I think that is a nice combination. These guys are this way of pushing these quarterbacks and running backs in this round, I think was pretty smart. I like AJ Brown here. I do. I like Ladd. I might buy into CJ Stroud here. Might get Jacobs. You know what? We'll take McBride. We'll push McBride. Do I like him as much as some other guys here? Maybe not. We're definitely into a little bit of a struggle zone, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, each draft is really unique, family. Was it smart to push McBride there? Maybe not. But we're not going to take another tight end for some time. We get a nice stacking partner for Kyler. I will take, again, this is hopefully we get Marv. This would be a game stacking kind of mentality. Then we'll push a couple late quarterbacks, knowing that we have Kyler and Love. I want to put, hopefully we can get I like JSN too, but he has no bearing on that. Chuba, Ken Walker. We're going to queue up Alvin Kamara as well. I mean, there's still so much value on the board in terms of the running back market that I think that we can sit on it a little bit. Yeah. Having AJ Brown fall like that to the Jalen Hurts owner, I don't really like that. We'll see how it shakes down. As you can see, though, that the running back market, guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 running backs off the board. We still don't have our first one yet, so we're still getting what could be a top 15 running back coming around. Still 4, but I thought for 5 for sure. Yeah, I mean, this amount I think is fine because you're looking at Team 9. So Team 9, Team 10, and Team 12 probably won't push another quarterback anytime soon. They might, but they might want to get value somewhere else. Team 3 definitely is done on quarterbacks for a little bit. They're going to push running back hard the next 2 rounds, in my mind. Coming down here to pick 1. Pick 1 might push another quarterback in the next round. We'll see. That makes sense to me over here at pick 5 when we look at the way that this is stacked up. Rodgers, of course, goes. I'm not worried about that. I got 2 guys that I like. All right, here's Marv. Perfect. Couldn't have worked out better. Yeah, I mean, you look at it, they're sweating. They're probably sweating for a little bit, but looking at the makeup of their team right now, all 3 of these guys have 2 quarterbacks. And I think the majority of all teams right now, except for pick 1 and pick 11. So pick 1 and pick 11 have 2 quarterbacks now. At pick 32, should I have taken Drake London and then come back and try to get Michael Penix? Because that guy probably would have taken Jordan Love. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Now, the big question, though, is do we go JSN? No, can't get him. I think Chuba's the guy here. I really like Chuba. Wish I would have had a stacking partner here for this Love game. So we're taking Chuba. Joe will be happy for Chuba. He loves him. Yeah. Running back for sure here for us. I think running back is going to get pounded over the next 10 picks. Because again, these guys on this half of the board pretty much have cleared out the quarterback market for themselves. 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1. So you could see pick 1. Maybe pick 1. Look, I'm not pushing Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, Tyler Shough, Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, Shadur, Flacco, Milroe. So I think the room is going to be pretty cleared out on quarterbacks right now. I don't think anybody's going to push for quarterback. The fact that Tyreek fell to the 6th round, that's some incredible value, I think, for the person that went out and got Nico and Tyreek. I don't know why I like JSN so much in this format necessarily. But I do think that when you're looking at this group of players specifically for the Superflex, JSN is like a tremendous value. So we're looking here at Jamar Marv will hopefully be our guys every week. We have McBride. So week 8's probably going to be a little bit of a tough sled for us. Ken Walker also has a week 8 bye. It seems like week 8's the popular bye this year. Oh my God. See, this is what I'm saying. There goes Daniel Jones. There's really no benefit to push these 4 players and sacrificing Daniel Jones in a super flex. That's rough. All right. If we get one of these 3 players, I'll be okay with that. So we just lost out. Oh, I forgot JMO was here. I'm not pushing DK this scout round, guys. We're not pushing DK. Hopefully we can. Okay, there goes JMO. We're probably not going to get Henderson here. Severe thunderstorm watch until 12. All right, there goes Henderson. I might take. I'd like to push Zay here. All right, so we got Zay. Something that he's a player I don't normally take because in a PPR league, I think he's way more valuable. When we look at Zay in general, and we just look at the stat sheet, he's fine. Depending on how they kick rocks next time out. But I like that game set. I like that week 17 game against the Packers. And we already have Jordan Love. So we might push Golden. Not taking Ridley there. We normally take Ridley. Show something different there. I think if we can get Caleb Johnson or Pacheco, I'm okay with that. I'm not as down on Pacheco or Pollard as Joe is right now. Do I like them? No, not in particular. At this point in time, do I think that they have some value? Sure. Waddle's a guy that I could buy into as well at this point in time. All right, so we'll take Caleb. I don't think that's a bad start by any stretch of the imagination. We have 2 really, really decent options at quarterback, 2 really decent options at running back, 3 pretty great options at wide receiver. The whole Trey McBride pick, kind of regret it. Kind of. I know. rough. Looking back at the Trey McBride pick, is it the best pick? No, I mean, maybe I should have pushed Kyron there, getting Kyron at pick 41 instead of McBride. Then we get Kyron, Marv, Chuba, Zay, and then pushing somebody else. I think that would have been all right. Let's see what shakes down. I'm okay with this team so far. So far we have Kyler, Love, Chuba, Caleb, Jamar, Marv, Zay, and McBride. I also took Zay for the 2 games that they play against Cincinnati. And they play one of them, I think, at the back half of the year. If I can get Godwin here, I would love that. I'm not pushing any of these. I'm not pushing any of those quarterbacks. Mason wouldn't be terrible. Golden. If I take, I don't know. We'll see what happens. There goes Pacheco. I'm pretty sure Brian Robinson Jr. is going to come off the board. Joe likes him a little bit more than I did, though. There we go. Get a little Tucker Craft action. We'll cue him up. See Tyler Shook. Ugh, that's disgusting. All right. Tucker Craft is pick 143. So we don't have to worry about him until the 12th round. We could say, I mean, I like where Godwin's potential is. He fits into our team really nicely. But Aaron Jones is also still there. Aaron Jones could be a huge value. He wasn't really a touchdown guy last year anyway. So if Mason is the goal line guy, it's not like it's an issue. So Pollard just went off the board. I think Aaron Jones is going to go to this guy at 9.6. And again, Aaron Jones is usually hurt. We'll see. So it's super flex, which I know, but being best ball and obviously no trading makes it totally different. It absolutely does. So you want to have the best. You want to have the best possible combination of guys at any one point in time. Yeah. Godwin's the guy. Even if he doesn't play, we're solid enough that, and here's the thing, right? You look at Godwin's numbers last year before he got hurt, just trolling people. I mean, there were weeks where he was getting on DraftKings at least, 20 points or so because he was hitting some bonuses. But again, he has some upwards momentum in terms of the targets. I like those amount of targets that he has. Baker Mayfield can get him back there. He's our 4th wide receiver. I don't necessarily need to push Golden at all. I can because it's a nice stacking partner, but I don't have to. I could take a chance on a guy like ETN here. Again, don't have to. I think I'm going to push Charbonnet, actually, or Ramondre there. I'm totally fine with both of those. So again, guys, we're looking at Superflex best ball right now on Underdog. This is the 13 we're drafting today. This pick is Golden by far and away. I know that Jaden Reed is there. The Golden gives us a nice room. So coming out, again, this is our 3rd draft. In our first one, we so Joe just left, but we did 4 quarterbacks relatively early. In the one we did previous to this one, we did 3 quarterbacks in the mid rounds. So right here, we took 3 quarterbacks. And in this one, you're seeing a blessing of Jamar Chase, which changed the strategy of how we attack this because I wanted Kyler. Jordan Love gives us a nice comeback. Jordan Love, Matt Golden, plus the comeback of Zay Flowers is beautiful. If Mark Andrews is somewhere on the board, this could be a Mark Andrews, Tucker Craft selection. But I do think that I need to push Zach Charbonnet on this next pick. Yeah, I mean, the idea here with these Packers wide receivers is that if you're in best ball and you're buying into Packers players, taking 2 of them, I don't think is a bad thing if you're building Packers. So like taking Love, while Love might not be the most exceptional quarterback in the world all the time, I think that if you take 2 of his pass catchers, there could be hits, there might not be. There could be bad weeks, there could be good weeks. Would I want to usually take Matt Golden? Probably not. Jane Reed is still on the board. Am I crazy enough to take him? Possibly. But I do want a running back here. But I mean, looking at that ADP of Jane Reed, if I take Jane Reed, I'm not taking Tucker Kraft, which may or may not happen here. So family, I mean, do we take Jane Reed? Do we take Tucker Kraft? That's the question. Tucker Kraft would be probably the next round. But right now, if Charbonnet's there, Charbonnet's the pick. Tucker Kraft would probably be somewhere in here. So again, we have Jane Reed and Zach Charbonnet up on the board. I think I'm going to go Charbs. Jane Reed is a hard player for me to pass on. Like I said earlier, he's a no draft in redraft for me, but in best ball, you know, if I were to think, if you could read the room ahead of time and know that he was going to fall, you know, there goes Reed. Hey, Bones. Yeah. I mean, and this is the thing too. Kraft could end up in the flex spot just as likely as Golden would end up in the flex spot. I thought about taking Stevenson there, but I think Charbonnet was the better pick. For as much as I take Ken Walker, I never really take Charbonnet. Could we wait on Tucker Kraft? Should we get Ray Davis? That's the question. Family, Kraft or Ray Davis? We only have 3 running backs, Chuba, Caleb, and Charbonnet. Do we sit on Kraft, knowing that he's the 4th tight end off the board? And do we take Ray Davis? All right, we'll push Kraft. We'll push Kraft. All right. So hopefully we could start a tight end run, and maybe Ray Davis will make it back to us. I doubt it. So we do need to start looking into some options there at running back. Benson, I wouldn't be mad at White in this scenario either. Mims is still out there. Looking at the current construction of the team, Tampa's got that Miami game. We do have Tampa. Seattle plays Carolina. So we have the Chuba v. Charbonnet kind of scenario. It's not bad. We did start a little bit of a tight end run, guys. A little bit. Actually, the Njoku guy started it. Yeah, Bones. I mean, as we can see, looking at the board, there's a chance he might make it back, and he went right there. We definitely weren't going to get Tucker Kraft, though. Looking at the 3 tight ends that came off the board right after and a 4th tight end. So Tucker Kraft paired with Trey McBride. I think Tucker Kraft is fighting for a flex spot most weeks anyway, in comparison to Trey. And I think like in this format too, if Trey McBride and Tucker Kraft get a little uptick in touchdowns, that's going to be a blessing, because like where are tight ends the most valuable in the red zone for the most part? Where was Trey McBride not valuable in the red zone? So like when we look at that and we stacked both of our quarterbacks with a tight end, that's perfect for me. Now the question is, which one of these 3 guys will be on the board when it's our pick? Because I think we take one of them. I do like Brenton Strange too, but we're not pushing any more tight ends right now. We'll hold off on that. Roschon at pick 169 could be interesting. Could be. Hunter Henry. I think this might be Rachaad White. Any opinions on this one, Bones family? Do we want Rachaad White or Benson? We have a little stack with Kyler. Do we want Rachaad White or Benson? I have Rachaad White right now as the guy above him. I think we'll take White. We'll let it. Yeah, Blue just went off the board. Blue went right before me. Blue has a lot of upside, I think, especially in the Superflex format. He could take off in terms of where you're getting him. I was just looking at our old DraftKings ones, and I was looking at where we got Jane Blue prior. Late. Yeah, I do think so too, Bones. I think Benson's a great pick. We take Benson a lot. I think our portfolio is probably like 30% Trey Benson and like maybe like 5% Rachaad White. I love Trey Benson though. This could be a Tyler Algier pick. Maybe Braylon Allen would be the better pick here. I know we like Roschon as well. Eckler could be a good option. We took Braylon Allen last time. We'll take him again this time. We'll just let it queue out. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice. We missed him out on 3 picks. I mean, Benson could have been, that could have easily have been Braylon Allen where Benson went. It could have easily been Garendo or Algier. Yeah, I almost clicked Roschon there. Almost. I'm just not like 1,000% certain what they want to do up in Chicago. Do they want to run Swift primarily? Roschon could be a guy. I mean, 6 touchdowns last year. Nothing to scoff at in a way. Shipley is going to be on the board for us. Justice Hill, less slow because he doesn't score as many touchdowns. We could push him. I like Noel with this wide receiver grouping. We have 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. I might push McMillan in that lineup with Godwin insurance. Quarterbacks are slowly going by the wayside. You got Rudolph. Again, we'll probably just take 2 of these guys at the back end. That's going to be the plan there at quarterback. Yeah, we're looking good at quarterback. It's Kyler and Jordan Love. So we have 2. So I'm not really nervous about that. We have 2 that are on different bye weeks. So I think that's perfect for Superflex right now. Both those guys have 20-point upside, but they also have floors of like 15, 12. So, I mean, if Jordan Love or Kyler doesn't make it, we're on the struggle bus anyway. J.K. Dobbins could be an interesting pick. Here's the team so far. We have Kyler, Love, Chuba, Caleb, Charbonnet, Rachaad White, Braylon Allen, Jamar, Marv, Zay, Godwin, Golden, McBride, and Tucker Kraft. I think this has to be Will Shipley. Any thoughts, guys? I think it has to be Shipley. The upside's there. I like Corum too. We'll push Shipley. Quiet in the rookie season. AJ Dillon's there. Dobbins is interesting to me. I mentioned Dobbins in the last draft, I believe, with Joe. The landing spot could be interesting. If he does end up, I didn't hear any news today necessarily that he did sign with Denver. But if he does sign with Denver, I think it's a really good opportunity. So I wouldn't be against taking Dobbins by any stretch of the imagination. So Guys, if you're just walking in, just joining the chat, we are doing a super flex puppy on underdog. The team so far is Kyler, Jordan Love, Chuba, Caleb, Zach Charbonnet, White, Allen Shipley, Jamar, Marv, Zay, Chris Godwin, Golden, McBride, and Kraft. We've done 2 other ones today where we've tried different strategies. We tried 3 quarterbacks at the 3-4-5. We went quarterbacks round 1, 2, 4, I believe. And all teams, I think, have some different components that could be elite. We're seeing a lot of different strategies being used. These are definitely really fun. So let's shoot out. We're at 6-5. How many picks we have left? The Thunderstorms are rolling through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jalen Noel wouldn't be a bad get here either. I think that's who I want. I'm really curious to see how that situation works out in Houston. I think that there's a good degree of upside there. Easily could have taken Alec Pierce. Who knows what that quarterback situation is going to be. I'm staying away from Marks with the news that Chubb signed. I have enough of Marks that I don't need to pound that anymore. So we're sitting here. It's the 15th round. We've got 4 picks left. 2 of them are going to be quarterback. Those are going to be the last 2 picks, hopefully with 2 out of those 3 guys. If you have any opinions, chat on which 2 of those guys we should take, let me know. I am more than willing to go off the board as well. Like I said, Jimmy G, I think, is a guy that not a lot of people are taking. Re-signs with the Rams 3 months ago. He's 33 years old. Not a young stud by any stretch of the imagination. Tyrod Taylor is sitting there. Not a great pick, but backing up in the Jets. Fields could get injured fairly easily, so the pathway is there. None of these guys would work for me. Milton could be an interesting get. He'll serve as the number 2 quarterback behind Dak. It's interesting to say the very least. All right, so let's take a look. Probably we want another tight end. If Mason Taylor's there, I'm willing to take a shot on Taylor. Where are we at here? All right. Yeah, if Mason Taylor's there, I'm totally going to take a chance on him. Week 9 bye. Nah, damn. All right. We're going to shoot for the moon. We'll take Fannin. He has some correlation there to Caleb Johnson for the Steelers. All right. So 2 of these guys. Did I need to take Fannin there? No, but again, nobody I really like. The quarterback room, we're going to take 2 more, like I said. The question is, do we take 1 more running back or 1 more wide receiver? Chat, I put it to you. Do we take 1 more running back or 1 more wide receiver? Right now we have Chuba, Caleb, Charbonnet, White, Braylon Allen, Shipley, Chase, Marv, Flowers, Godwin, Golden, Noel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You only need to start 2. And then you have a flex. So I might take Corum. Might take Brashard Smith. Do I want to be loaded up on running back after the fall of that? Probably. Ford's interesting. He could get a look somewhere else. I like Dylan Sampson as well, but we have enough week 9 running backs, so we can't really do that. I don't know. you know what? We're going to take a chance on Corum. Oh, we already have a third tight end there. Third tight end's Fannin. This week 9 is going to be fun. I think in regular redrafts, week 8 and week 9 are going to be interesting. All right, so we'll take Hal for sure. Hal for the injury. Yeah, I think Mariota is definitely entrenched there in Washington, staying again. Multiple touchdowns. I think that can't be overstated. We look at the quarterback market. I think Milton can have upside. Dak could get hurt. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, not like amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but interesting upside. Maybe they go with Quinn Ewers. After that, we could back up Jordan Love with Malik Willis. I don't think I like that. Top QBs is Rattler, the rattling gun, Milton, Rudolph, Dylan Gabriel, Winston. I kind of want to go off the radar, though, with this pick. I want to take a guy in Superflex that nobody's really taking, and I feel like people are taking those guys a lot. Is Tanner McKee the only guy that they have to back up Hurts? That's wild. I would say that they would just continue to rush. Josh Dobbs would be an interesting play off of May. He has some decent upside. This pick's going to be Howell, though. Yeah, but here's the thing, family. We already know Rattler sucks. Like, that pick to me is so uninteresting. He would get a chance to play, but he also is terrible. So, I mean, there is not even a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, just a lot of column A. He's just not a good quarterback. At least he showed last season that he wasn't up to it. Maybe if their offensive line improved like drastically, sure. There's definitely a pathway for that. I like the pick of Sam Howell here. Looking at Minnesota, he's the next guy up. Like Gardner Minshew Gardner Minshew went to Kansas City. I don't know. Oh, okay. Gardner Minshew would be an interesting play off of Mahomes. This is going to be Sam Howell. Yeah, I mean, and actually, you know what I'm going to do? This is what I'm going to do. Because we have Jamar, we're going to take Jake Browning. Again, interesting pick, right? Interesting pick. So this is the thing. Do we take possibly who could be throwing the ball to Jamar Chase week 17 against the Arizona Cardinals defense and Jake Browning? Or do we take another week 5 quarterback to shine who has rushing upside? That is the question mark here, guys. Do we take the insurance policy for Love, or do we take the insurance policy for Joe Burrow? What do we do? Man, family, I really want to take Browning. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Browning. All right. Joe is going to hate this team. He's going to hate this team, chat. He's going to despise it with all of his heart. Let's go down to the bottom here. The reason why I took Browning there is just because I've seen Malik Willis go off the board a little bit on these late QB teams. Are we missing out on much taking these 2 late QB teams? I don't think so, guys. This strategy definitely has some legs, taking 2 early QBs and 2 late QBs. I mean, looking at the market, there wasn't a QB. I mean, looking at this market, look at this, guys. You go from super flex, super heavy quarterbacks, and then down here, round 8, Shook, Richardson, Wilson, Jackson Dart, all could start. Sam Howell, Jake Browning, the pathway for starting is definitely there. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. He is going to be starting somewhere in 2026. He does have a good amount of upside, but I still think that he's a little bit. I mean, again, if you're taking shots, he's perfectly fine to take a shot on in this format for sure. If I say, for example, if I wouldn't have gone Sam Howell, I probably would have went Willis and Browning. But I think I like Browning with the potential stack in week 17 if Burrow were to get hurt. I really don't like wanting my starting quarterback to get hurt. If you get where I'm going with that, family. So if I wouldn't have taken Jordan Love, I probably would have taken Malik Willis. No, it's definitely not unheard of. I mean, we saw a couple of those guys, get good contracts after being drafted. So taking a look at the board, this is a much different board than you're going to see in redraft. It's a much different board than you're going to see in regular leagues. But this Superflex format's really fun. I do recommend trying it out. We might even run it back on Wednesday with a bunch of these Superflexes. Again, these Superflex puppies, they're going to fill up. I think the max is 20, maybe a little bit less than that, and $5 a piece. I don't think you can beat that. I like this strategy of going the second round, third round quarterback as well. I don't see a super comparable difference on a season wide of taking Goff versus Love. And I don't see a big difference from taking Caleb to Love or Caleb to Drake May. So if you're sitting here in this middle round, we had a pick at 4. We had one at 7. We had one at 8. We showed you a little bit about 7 and 8. We went heavy running back. Let's see if we can pull up. Let's see if we can pull those up. Completed. All right, so here is the puppy, but Superflex. This was one of the teams here. We had Hurts, Fields, Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers. But then the running back room was ugly. Mason, Warren, Stevenson, Blue, Benson, Corum, Brooks. Any one of those guys could hit for a big week. The wide receiver room, Nico, Garrett Wilson, DK, Ridley, McMillan, Noel. I think one of the biggest things to write home about here is that the wide receiver value in Superflex leagues, especially this being you only need to start 2 wide receivers, is elite. And then coming back with some stacked tight ends as well. Stacking the tight end, I think, is something that we will be for sure jumping on board with. So these are the 3 that we just did. Right. It would be bad. So here is the three ones that we just did. So you can see that we have Ridley in 2, Noel in 2. I think the value on those 2 guys is crazy. Allen, Corum, and Godwin and Shipley we got in 2 out of 3. Everybody else we've kind of sprayed the board with in that regard. If we take a look at I don't know why it's not showing me my other ones. Let me refresh for a moment. We'll see what comes up. All right, here we go. So these are the 3 teams we drafted today. Here's the one you just saw. Again, this one is the lowest projected one because when Underdog, it's super ugly, dude. When Underdog does their calculations for projections, they're counting in all 4 of your quarterbacks in terms of the projected points. That's why this one is higher, because they expect these 4 quarterbacks to go. So again, this is the first team we drafted. Heavy quarterback to start with: Hurts, Fields, Ward, Rodgers. Honestly speaking, we didn't need to take Fields there. Joe wanted to take Fields. I wanted to take Fields, but we didn't need to take them. It came at the expense of this ugly running back room. Super ugly running back room. Going then to the second one, which I like a little bit better than the first one. You see it's a little bit more comfortable here in the market. 4.673. This is a 4.763, and then a 4.763. So here we lost a little bit on the wide receiver market. But again, I like this team number 2 probably as one of the best. Family, you can take a look at that one, and anybody in the chat as well. Drake May, Penix, Darnold, Mariota. Not stellar by any means, but then you look at the running back room, solid through and through. You have Bijan, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker, Garendo, Allen, Shipley. And the wide receiver room, aces. Pickens, Ridley, Godwin, Meyer, Shaheed, Douglas, Thornton, and then 3 really interesting boom potential guys. Again, be aware of those bye weeks. Like this, George Pickens, Calvin Ridley could have killed us, and that's why we stacked up 2 other wide receivers there. And then as you can see, this one is the lowest projected one because again, Sam Howell and Jake Browning are not projected to be starting quarterbacks. So we have Kyler, Love, Howell, Browning, Chuba, Caleb, Charbonnet, White, Allen, Shipley, Corum, Chase, Harrison, Zay, Godwin, Golden, Noel, McBride, Kraft, and Fannin. I like the second team probably the best out of all of them just because it's a little bit more of a satiated running back room, but I think that this one could shoot for the moon. All right, guys, so we are going to join you guys again. If Browning is definitely a good backup, not a replacement level, absolutely, but Jamar Chase could pull him to 2 or 3 touchdowns in a game. That's all I'm looking for. If I'm taking Jake Browning in the late rounds here, that's all I'd be looking for. Finding the QB balance is tough part of getting the Superflex format right. Absolutely. You do want quarterbacks with a top 10 upside. Like upside is the name of the game here. So but looking at this first team has 4 quarterbacks that could end the year in the top 12. Could. I'm not saying they would, but they could. On this team, you have 2, probably. And on this team, you hope to have 2. Because if you, this is the thing about the Superflex League. If you don't take that third quarterback early, you are going to be suffering and you are going to be looking like this team for the most part. You can deal with it. Like it comes back to a value standpoint, right? Is that, do I take the third quarterback or do I take Zay Flowers? Do I take the third quarterback or do I take Chuba Hubbard? Those are the questions you got to ask yourself. Absolutely. When we look at team 2, this team is actually, I think, the most balanced from a perspective. I think that we got value at every single position. So ideally, when you're pushing through these super flex drafts, the round 3, round 4, round 5 quarterbacks is probably the way to go. You look at the balance between May, Penix, Darnold, and Mariota. You have May, who has rushing upside, and then you have passing upside with the other 2. You paired it with 2 elite level running backs. I think that if you're going to do this, and if you're going to do it right, and this is just a personal opinion, if you're going to do this strategy where you're taking the 3 third round, 4th round, 5th round quarterbacks, that you should be taking 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds. So if you look at this draft, where it was at, taking those first 2 running backs sets you up. I mean, Bucky Irving falling to 43, I would have really liked Bucky there. But this one was an interesting room to be in. Achane, I think would be an incredible get as well. But if I weren't to go like 3-4 and I were to just go 3-5 and get, 2, you could, again, this could have been Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors as well. And then you'd be done at wide receiver for a bit. But I think the talent at wide receiver holds itself better to the 8th, 9th round, but the running back value doesn't. So if you are going to push these mid-round quarterbacks, 3-4-5 or 2-3-4 or 2-4-5, something like that, I think you need to have 2 solid running backs. You could see that kind of like, if you don't, you kind of have a hodgepodge team and it's not like any better than anything else. Because look at the value here, guys. When we look at what wide receivers are there, all of those wide receivers that are being taken right there have the chance to finish with a top 15 week somewhere along the line. You can't say the same thing for every one of those running backs. So, pushing that, I think that team is the most balanced of the ones we drafted. Looking at this board here, you can see the variation and the subtlety for the Superflex is real interesting. So 3 top 30 quarterbacks with a stud base, you definitely want. Absolutely. But the butterfly effect is real. Can't look post-draft as any changes you make impacts the whole board. Absolutely. And that's why I'm saying is that I do think like you're looking here at team 7. So team 7 in this draft did what we did in the second draft. So this is the one we had pick 4. So we're here. When you look at what pick 7 did, and I think pick 6, 7, and 8 is like the perfect spot to do this in. They went Bijan McCaffrey, quarterback, first wide receiver, Terry McLaurin. Do I think that Terry McLaurin's the best wide receiver right there? No. But a high degree of touchdown upside, and then a third running back at Chuba. Had he taken, like Zay here went in the 6th round. Okay, so Zay went in the 6th round here. Let's see where we got Zay in this last draft. So Zay is coming off. We got Zay in the 7th round here. So we got a little bit of value there in Zay, which was really nice in comparison to what we would have had to pay in that other one. So I think, like, as I'm looking at it though, one of the primary problems, and this is for anybody who's out there watching right now, team 7 I think did good here for sure. You're looking at Terry and Xavier Worthy. I think that's incredible. Chuba and Isaiah Pacheco gives you a nice balance to your running backs that you took before. You didn't look, you're not missing out on much wide receiver value. So you go from Terry, Xavier Worthy, Juwan, and Darnell Mooney, and then Trey Harris. I think this team is super balanced in terms of what they did. So unless you're sitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically, you got to kind of make up those points for the quarterback that you're not getting at that position. And is it the best to go quarterback to start with if you're not at position 1, 2, 3, 4? I don't know. It's something that we'll definitely keep looking at because we'll do more of these on Wednesday. But I do think that you're getting a super competitive advantage by taking someone like. You don't really notice the advantage so much until you get to round 4, though. So round 4 is, I think, where you start to see the advantage, where guys that are of the caliber of Christian McCaffrey in terms of what they could put on the board are still there. So maybe the most ideal strategy for this, and this is just kind of speaking to the trees right now, but I think if you go like running back, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, like we did kind of last time, that opens the door too. Because if you remember, this is the team we got just a couple minutes ago, and the quarterback spread was a little bit different there. But like, would I be mad walking out of a draft with Saquon, Genti, Dak, CJ Stroud, and Tua? No. I really do think what killed us this time is taking McBride. I don't think it's necessarily in this room, in this Superflex room. I don't think we're getting a competitive advantage getting Trey McBride. If we would have picked Kyron or Josh Jacobs over McBride and then got Marv anyway, that a Josh Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard, Caleb Johnson room, and then where we took Zach Charbonnet, take Jonnu, and then Tucker Kraft, I think that's probably where we're at. The storm's coming right now. So, all right, guys. So everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us. Family, Magic, Bones, thanks for joining in the chat. Andre, thanks for joining in the chat as well. We'll be back Wednesday, 3:45 Eastern Standard Time, with more underdog, more Superflex drafts. We're going to hit a couple different strategies. I think we're not going to push tight end in the next round. And of course, Joe has way different thoughts about some of these guys. I'm going to show him this team, see what he thinks. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there if you're in the storm area, and we'll see you 3:45 Eastern on Wednesday. Appreciate it.